All right, I'm out.
We actually thought about stopping when they were so bored. We really even there to go.
Less than 1 month ago, Thousand Oaks met rival Camarillo in a game that we knew would decide the league championship, but questions remained about postseason implications. Camarillo came from 10 points down to take the top seed in the Northern Division, while Thousand Oaks was forced to play a third-seeded team in Lompoc. It is Lompoc and Thousand Oaks in the game of the week, and we'll get to our analysis, won't we, right after the national anthem.
Charlie Heath with the singing of America the Beautiful this evening.
Back at Thousand Oaks High School, that was actually just America the Beautiful, guys. We still have the national anthem to go here. My name is Danny Page, with me Kent Brown in the Deuce area. It's not exactly the smoothest start to the broadcast that we were hoping for. This is the VCS Preps Game of the Week, brought to you by the Ventura County Star. To get to my point here, Derry, I was so rudely interrupted by a beautiful patriotic melody in America the Beautiful. But we didn't know what the implications would be, Camarillo and Thousand Oaks, going back to that game, but T.O. has a huge challenge tonight in the Lompoc Braves, who have traveled down the 101 freeway.
Sure is. I mean, you're talking about a Lompoc team that's won, 69 of its last 77 games. It won a couple of CIF titles here in the last 5 years. Just a great, solid running program, very great tradition. They're one of only a few teams in the state history to win over 550 wins. I mean, it's just been a solid program since the early 1920s.
And Lompoc, obviously, CIF championships in 2010 and 2011. But the Braves, as you mentioned in your remarkable research, lost 7 CIF title games over a 20-year span before finally winning their first in 1990. The point being, again, this is a Lompoc team as well that obviously won in 10 and 11. They were eliminated in the semifinals in 2012 and 2013 by the teams that eventually won the CIF title. They expect to win a championship every year.
It really is. We're talking about a program that was in the Northwest Division, kind of smaller schools division, only just a few years ago, and moved up into this Western Division just a couple of years ago. And they haven't missed a beat. They're just really strong. Their only loss was to a very good Arroyo Grande team that could very easily have been playing in this game too. They're a very good program, and really a solid running game that not very many teams in Ventura County have seen since the early Oxnard teams.
T.O. anticipates that if they do win, they will be going to Arroyo Grande. They are away no matter what. If we look more at the X's and O's as opposed to the history, we bring in Ken Brown. Ken, I talked about this in the VCS Preps Periscope pregame. This is a contrast of styles tonight. You have the triple option versus the read option. You know, you have a team that wants to control the clock, chew up a lot of time. You have another team that loves to score quickly and scores in bunches.
And that's what I love about these type of playoff matchups. You get two teams from two different areas, and just one team wants to do it one way, but the other team says, nope, this is the way it needs to get done. And if you're TO, you're right. You want a fast-paced game, high scoring, get your offense going, quick possessions, quick touchdowns. And then on the other hand, if you're Lompoc, you want to be out on the field 40-plus minutes tonight, use that clock, pick up second and short, third and manageable, and not have to be forced into passing situations. And also, this is a real challenge for the defense of TO. We know that a lot of times they go up against a physical running game. That's where they've given up some of the most points in the past few years. They're going to be tested tonight. They need to find a way to get the Braves in second and third and long. Otherwise, this defense is probably going to be on the field a lot tonight. That's going to make them tired. And against the triple option, the best way to beat it is to get them off the field early and often. If you're on the field the whole game, it's just going to wear you down.
Well, and Deuce, as we look, again, we're going to go to Kent on X's and O's and Derry more to provide the historical analysis. And Deuce, when we take a look at this Thousand Oaks team, they've struggled over the years against teams that can be more physical up front.
Really have, last year Tascadero 48-41. Quartzdale in the playoffs. They won that game 28-21, but then they lost to Oaks Christian 57-38. Santa Barbara 2008 beat them, but then lost to Saugus 35-28. There's been some really high-scoring games that the defense has really struggled on stopping when they get deep into the playoffs.
That is the question tonight. Lompoc 10-1 on the year. I think one of the things, Deuce, when you look at their schedule, it's just hard to tell because they've played so many opponents that they just grossly outmatch on the field. There have been a lot of big wins for this team.
Talking about Lompoc?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they really have. And, the win last week against Paso Robles, which is
35-34.
Which has a great program also that could have won a section title. I was just talking to a Lompoc fan before we came on, and he was saying, hey, Paso Robles is really a strong physical team, and he was worried that Lompoc wouldn't have won that game. I mean, it came right down to the last series.
They did win 35-34. The Thousand Oaks Lancers take the field. You might recognize one thing about our broadcast position. We are on the away side of the field. We'll have a great look at the green hole. The entire Thousand Oaks marching band is not here tonight. Normally they sit in the pop-up stand adjacent to the right of the TO home fans, but a lot of space over here. I have to say, there are a lot more Braves fans than I thought would be here. The away stand is nowhere near full. It holds 1,800 people, but I would say there are a good 600-700 fans here, which, considering the distance they have to travel, it's pretty well done.
Hey, when you have a program that has won 69 of its last 77 games, you're going to travel.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You're going to travel.
Absolutely. Thousand Oaks and Lompoc set to face off on the BCS Preps Game of the Week presented by the Ventura County Star. We have had some thrillers for you, specifically in the second half of the season, and we're excited to bring you this game. It's the Lancers and the Braves, and it's live on VCStar.com. Could you guys tell it's windy tonight? Did you recognize that?
Yeah, I can definitely feel it out here. But you know what's going to be fun is we're right in the opposing crowd. We're right next to a lot of the Lompoc fans. We're going to get a good vibe early and often, how this crowd responds and how much energy they bring to this team. Because as Stu said, this is a program that expects to win. They come here with all intentions of leaving TO with the win, and we are just feet away from hundreds of their fans.
Tyler Simpson, the kicker, breaks the huddle. Back to receive Kevin Howell and Zach Cross. Lompoc in the all-white blue helmets, TO in green. And we're underway. Thousand Oaks and Lompoc in the quarterfinals. That kick is taken by the up man up to the 40-yard line. Spraying wide to the right side is number 25 for Thousand Oaks. That's Cole Clark. Great starting field position for T.O.
Yeah, it definitely is. And now it's what can this team do with Max Gillum? He's coming in at quarterback, and he's expected to have a sharp game. When you look at it, senior quarterbacks in playoff games is what coaches want. And so now you have a veteran quarterback led with a bunch of talent around him. It'll be interesting how involved Howell gets early. And then you also throw in the fact that Perry Martin should get a bunch of touches today. It should be a really balanced attack, but nonetheless, I really think when you have a senior quarterback and you're home in the playoffs, coach has to feel pretty good about that. And there's no doubt for Thousand Oaks that that's what they want.
Kyle Peterson, Steele Ledford, and Max Stockstad, the wide receivers in addition to the targets that Kent mentioned. Tons of time for Gillum. He's flush. He will complete, and he dumps it off over the middle. A 6-yard gain. Maybe we'll give him 7 to Steele Ledford. That's his 31st catch on the season. Max Gillum, the senior quarterback, 6'3", 200 pounds, and as we said, T.O. likes to move. A hurry-up offense. They, of course, do not huddle here. It's a give to Howell, and Howell has a first down. Derry, as we look at the games we've covered over the last 2 seasons, we have seen some really special players, special teams. We've done, 14 games per season. We've never seen Max Gillum, and I'm excited to see this TO team for the first time.
Really is. I mean, he's a guy that if you don't watch out, he can carry the ball 30 times.
Although Kevin Howell can carry into the secondary as well.
That's Martin.
Excuse me, it's Perry Martin as Martin takes it down to the 16-yard line. Well, there it is, just another weapon here at Gillum's disposal, a 33-yard gain. 1st and 10 for T.O.
And they went right up the gut, and then Martin bounced outside to the left, got a nice receiver block downfield, and picked up over 30 yards on that rush. And if they can establish that run in between the tackles early, then really, really positive things will happen with this offense.
It's a play fake, this time a throw to Stockstad, and Stockstad is stopped after a 3-yard gain. Will be 2nd and 7.
And that's fine. Now you're in the red zone, and let's see what the Lancers do in the red zone. You want to get touchdowns. You don't want to have to settle for field goals. It's early in the game. They've already marched their way down inside the 15-yard line. Now for the home team and Max Gillum, it's time to try to punch it in with a touchdown.
Gillum completes that pass to number 2, Kyle Peterson. Peterson is right near the first down marker. I think he'll be marked just a bit short. That is one of the disadvantages to being on the opposite side of the field is this. We don't have a great perspective as to where the first down markers are because they're on the away side, obviously.
Yeah, 3rd and 1 here, and it looks like they're just going I formation basically, or single setback behind the quarterback here in the pistol.
And it is a give to Martin, and Martin's inside the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown, Thousand Oaks. Boy, that was an easy drive. A 8-yard touchdown for the Lancers. Deuce, they did it in under 2 minutes. That's what we've been waiting to see from this TO team.
Well, it's kind of what we expected as we were talking in the pregame broadcast. Thousand Oaks likes to score pretty quickly, and it's going to be tough for the Lompoc defense to stop this kind of an offense. They've got to make some kind of adjustments because I'm sure they came out expecting Thousand Oaks just to pass. And then you have Martin, who really is an excellent running back.
Snap is high. It is over the head of the holder. That is Austin Thorne, and the PAT is no good. It's 6-0.
Well, that's the only negative thing that happened for T.O. on that first possession. Bad snap, not able to get the hold down, but a very efficient offensive set. They started in good territory. The kick was short, returned it all the way to the 40. We're past midfield in 2 plays, busted it down, and so basically, a 5-play drive, I believe, got them into the end zone. And now it's time for Lompoc. We know they're going to be more methodical. They're probably not going to score in less than 2 minutes, but nonetheless, it's time for this Lancers defense to step up. If they can get a couple stops here, then all of a sudden, the way this offense looked, the home team might be in good shape. But right now, great opening drive for the Lancers. You couldn't have really scripted that any better.
Obviously, we anticipate with this running game for Lompoc, they average nearly 250 yards per game on the ground, only 82.7 per game through the air. We're going to see a lot of pressure on this Thousand Oaks defense tonight. They will probably be spending a lot of time on the field given how quickly their offense likes to work. Thousand Oaks will kick away. Back deep to receive for the Braves is Dallas Canley. And Canley's up to the 15, picks up a block and gets to the 25, spun around and thrown out of bounds. At that point, the Lompoc fans wanted a penalty flag against Noah Hoffman, but to no avail. And the Braves will start from there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this offense does, knowing how close we are to the crowd. Most of the time we're in a press box or we're right next to the home press box. We don't really get to feel the opposing crowd this closely. Now when anything bad happens, or specifically anything really good happens on offense, we're going to just be right in front of all of this crowd, which I think it'll be pretty fun to experience that firsthand.
Yeah, no champagne and caviar spread tonight.
Watch what you say, boys.
With what we're used to. Yeah, right. Oh boy, carrying to the left side for a nice gain up to the 33. That's 8 yards for Chris Green, and a strong start for the Braves at the line of scrimmage.
And today you'll get Sims, a quarterback, another senior. So for both teams, they're going with their signal caller as a senior. Torrey Sims has had an effective year, mainly running the football in this option set. But Green and Tawa, the two big runners for this team as well.
And here is Tawa. Tawa picks up the first down. Torrey Sims, 6 foot, 170 pounds, 564 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns. In the air, 47 of 84 with 3 picks and 8 scores, which it's good to know if you're in an option system that the quarterback hasn't been intercepted very frequently. Excuse me.
And it's also cool to know that a lot of these runners play both sides. If you look at Tawa, he's in at running back, has the wild hair, and then on defense, he's coming off the edge as like an outside linebacker, defensive end hybrid, and he's all over the field. But I know, Deuce, you mentioned even before the game as we were talking about this contest, they don't necessarily get 20, 30 carries each. You'll get a lot of guys with 9 carries and 10 carries. So you can play both sides and still be pretty fresh.
Well, they have a lot of running backs, so they're switching out running backs to keep a lot of guys fresh.
In the center of the 3-back set is Andres Gardarama. It goes to Tawa. Penalty flag down. Was that holding or was that a face mask even? Was there a quick grab of the face mask?
It's hard to say. It was thrown by the side judge, but yeah, it looks like it'll definitely be on the Lompoc Braves.
This is one of the other issues being on the away side is we don't get to see exactly what the ref says. It is holding against the Braves. And you just can't commit holding penalties when you're in a option set like this.
Yeah, it's tough to do if you're playing any sort of facet of football, but when you run the option, you always need positive plays. When you can get a negative play for a defense, that's a huge win, and now the advantage shifts quite a bit. It's 2nd and 22, so even if they pick up 7 yards here, they're going to be in 3rd and a long distance.
It's almost like a 14-yard penalty because it was in the backfield in the holding.
Yeah, it looked like it happened a few yards behind the line of scrimmage. Holding is a spot foul. Now we have a procedure penalty. 2nd and 27 coming up. Torrey Sims did step back and work from the shotgun there. We'll see how Lompoc changes things up here, knowing that they have 27 yards to go to gain a first down, which, by the way, is at the 47-yard line. So they're all the way back at their 20, basically.
And it looks like Sims is coming out, and Marcus Nix is coming in here, quarterback, another senior. They put Nix in. And now I guess looks like maybe they shifted Nix over and they still have Sims in. So both the quarterbacks now kind of in the formation. And it didn't look like Sims knew what he was supposed to do.
Well, he's been going to the sideline to get the play. It's a screen pass that's designed, and it may have been complete if that diving catch was made. It was a great grab, except it goes for a 2-yard loss. 3rd and 30.
Yeah, 3rd and 30. This is exactly what T.O. wants on defense. And now, not only is it 3rd and forever, it should set up another good field position for the Lancers. So if you look at this defensively, good job right now. But we've seen this throughout the season, guys. Teams that have lost have been a lot of the times the teams that have committed the penalties, have not been efficient in the red zone, special teams errors. And right now, the big advantage goes to Thousand Oaks. They've been sharper, and 3 penalties already, just so much to overcome.
Design quarterback draw for Torrey Sims, and Sims is hauled down at the 28-yard line. The Lompoc Braves will be forced to punt. We do have some scores in the other games being played involving Ventura County teams. Isaiah Otis is healthy for Camarillo, which is big news, but Aaron Lamb scores the opening touchdown on the first drive for the Scorpions. They lead St. Joseph 7-0. Redondo Union is up 7-0 on Oxnard, and Pacifica is trailing Palos Verdes 7-0. Keep you posted on everything going on. Here's a punt for Lompoc. Nice boot will be taken at the 44-yard line. And it's fumbled. Opportunity for Lompoc to pick it up, and they do. First big play of the night to the Braves.
Yeah, and the second, still Ledford caught it. It was knocked out. One of the Lompoc upmen was able to get a helmet in there, knock it away, and then a big-time recovery coming up, making the play. A huge play for the Braves. It was Jimmy Gardner, the defensive back and tight end, a sophomore, with the big play. And now, as I just said, the field position is going to be flipped. It's not. It ends up being a huge gain on special teams from the Braves.
And now a lot of confidence for Lompoc coming in after that play, certainly. There will be a new belief for this team, really, I think. Wind really kicking up here. Doing everything we can to bring you this clearly, but the wind is just vicious at this point. Ruben Cortez steps into the backfield in between Chris Green and Tawa. Tawa is a sophomore, mind you. Green, a senior. And right in the middle is Ruben Cortez. It will be a keeper from Sims. And Sims gets down to the 27-yard line, a 5-yard gain. And that's what the Braves have to do to be able to control this clock and move the football with the run game.
Yeah, now you're in 2nd and 5, and you're also in plus territory, which means even if you get stuffed on 3rd and short, you can go for 4th down. So this is exactly the down and distance that the Braves want.
I won't really need to break down the formation too much, will I? Here's Toa Tawa, and Tawa is finally hauled down by Kevin Howell, and Howell comes up favoring his left leg. He plays on the defensive side of the football as well. 1,200 yards for Howell receiving.
Well, and then he has 12 interceptions on defense.
And if he were injured in this game, it would certainly be detrimental to the Thousand Oaks cause. Here's a carry this time from Green. Green around the corner. Green inside the 5. And Green in the end zone. Touchdown Braves. 18-yard scoring run from Green, and Lompoc can take the lead.
And you mentioned the explosiveness of these running backs. Chris Green, the senior, simply put, there's 3 options. You either dive it, you keep it, or you pitch it. And that time Green was able to get it on the pitch, and he just took a seam right up the sidelines past the numbers. An easy run for Chris Green, and a really well-designed play. Torrey Sims, as you said, pretty much he reads the players. If they're not going to come and stop the pitch, he'll pitch it every time, and that's a touchdown.
The old swinging gate from Lompoc, and then they line up for a more traditional point after touchdown. Kicker for the Braves is Javier De La Cueva, and that's through, and it's 7-6. You know, over the course of a football game, at any level, we analyze and discuss so frequently what happens in the 3rd and 4th quarters or late in a given half. But I think at this level, games can really be defined in the opening 12 minutes. And I think if Thousand Oaks had been able to go down the field and score and make this 14-0, that might have been the game, honestly. With the type of offense they have, if they'd been able to go down and score, but there's a big turnover, and now Lompoc has that belief on the road.
You bet. And they played so many big games before that even if they had lost that, not recovered that, I think they would have hung tough. They're just a team used to playing in the big games. And this has got to give them a lot of confidence from here on out, knowing that they can score against the Thousand Oaks team.
Yeah, and it was a short field, but that's fine. And then the way they scored, now they know, okay, we just busted one. Who's to say we can't keep busting long runs and make this happen? So for Lompoc, great special teams play. It's not like Thousand Oaks just dropped the punt. That was knocked out by a defender and then recovered by Lompoc. They earned the right to recover that fumble. So just a great special teams play. The second that Ledford caught it, he was hit, that ball came loose, and that's what you want out of your special teamers.
Derry, you brought up that Andrew Jones and Lompoc and these players are used to being in these big moments and big games, and I would say that's one thing I get from the feeling of being inside this crowd is you sense a feeling of a football community, and you feel like that the players on this field were probably at the CIF championship games and semifinals all those years.
Oh, you bet. You know, looking at the age of some of the people down here, I bet you they've been to some of those games that were in the 70s and 80s. I was talking to one guy who played for Lompoc, and he's not in his 30s, he's not in the 40s, he's probably in his early 50s. Correction, he's 43.
Right. How many times? Here's Perry Martin. Martin carries and picks up, about a yard. It's 3rd down and 1 now for Thousand Oaks, and they certainly don't want to see the drive stall here. They don't want to go 3 and out.
He says he celebrated his 43rd birthday 10 times.
Yeah. Oh boy, we're having fun among this crowd. The only other game where we were really in the crowd was the Calabasas-Camarillo game, and that was brilliant. 4 wide for Camarillo. Fumbled snap by Gillum.
Fortunate there's a offensive penalty before that pre-snap false start, so rather than probably lose 5 yards off of the fumble, instead it's gonna be 3rd and 6, which is not what you want, but it was gonna be 4th and 6, and it would have been a punt.
It's actually a break for Thousand Oaks there, really.
Yes, definitely.
And I didn't see who the false start was on. I wonder if it could have been on the center. Sometimes the center will lift his head, snap the ball, no one else is moving, and it can go against the center.
And now a reasonable distance to get Thousand Oaks off the field. And Tawa, the two-way star, he's been tremendous so far. And I love the fact that he's a captain and he's a sophomore.
Yeah, isn't that brilliant?
You never really see that. It's almost always seniors and maybe a junior peppered in.
3 wide to the far left side, and now Gillum's forced to run. Gillum striding his way close to the sticks, and it looks like he's picked up the 1st down. Nifty run from Max Gillum, who can get it done with his legs as well. And that ball is literally on the 30-yard line. It was just that close.
Yeah, but because it was a touchback, it's easy for the officials to assess. As long as it's over that line at the 30, they're going to move the chains. And what a great play by Gillum. He was nearly taken down by Tawa, able to get away from that tackle on the sideline. And then he had the heads up, rather than step out, get the 1st down and then step out. A lot of quarterbacks, if that's a sophomore or a junior, he probably goes out a yard short.
Gillum.
Well, he's used to running.
Gillum hands off to Perry Martin, and Martin's having a great day on the ground. Gillum, as Deuce alluded to, 638 yards, 9 touchdowns. He had 138 yards rushing against Royal, 21 career rushing touchdowns.
And I like the fact that Martin has gotten most of his big yards through the tackle box, and then he separates in the 2nd level and breaks it outside. That's a really good sign. If you can run between those hash marks, that's going to be tough for Lompoc as this game goes on if their defensive front 7 doesn't get better stopping that up front.
Well, especially he's doing so with only, as that pass is in and out of the hands of Max Stockstad, he's picking up nice chunks of yardage with only 5 blockers, basically. They spread it out 4 wide for Thousand Oaks, and Martin's seeing a lot of room with just those 5 up front.
Yeah, but that also opens things up in the middle too, because when you have 4 and 5 wide, those defensive backs and those safeties have to respect those wide outs, and therefore if you can make 1 or 2 guys miss, you saw what happened earlier with that 33-yard gain, you'll get a couple more like that.
It'll be Martin again on 2nd down. Martin beyond midfield, and he's just hauled down from behind. A nice tackle on the play from Ruben Cortez, the sophomore we saw at the running back position. If Cortez didn't drag him down the other side of midfield, that might have gone for 6.
And he has a nice frame, and he lowers his shoulder on contact very well. And that's going to be a testament to when he gets hit, he's going to move forward as opposed to moving back. He's been good so far picking up that last yard.
Gillum completes that pass to Steele Ledford. Have yet to target Kevin Howell tonight. He hasn't really gotten in the game offensively.
And for Ledford, that was big because the last time he touched the ball, he fumbled it on the punt return. Now it's good that he was able to catch one, corral it, pick up solid distance. They don't want to go away from him, but you're right. So far, Kevin Howell hasn't had him I mean, he's on the far side of the field. He'll definitely be utilized, but right now he has not been utilized much so far on the offensive side.
Here's Martin. Martin with a nice cutback, plows through one tackler, and is tackled inside the 30-yard line. A first down for Thousand Oaks.
Hal's more of a kind of like a decoy out there. You got to respect what he can do.
They have him all the way out on the edge, too, Derry. That's a great point.
As I said, open that defense up, put 2 guys over. There's a safety there and a corner. So, yeah, you take 2 defenders on his side. That's going to make it easier for the running game. Just count those numbers, put a hat on a hat, and you'll get positive yardage if you pick up the blocks.
Still 7 players in the box, though, for Lompoc. It looks like Max Gillum changed something at the line, maybe adjust the run to go to the right side. And Perry Martin stumbles over at the 23. It's a 5-yard gain on first down.
Good gain, and they're approaching the red zone once again. For TO, first possession, quick touchdown drive. This one has been a bit more, they've had to work for the yardage, but it's still been picking up 5 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards. Kind of significant chunk yardage here on first and second down.
Gillum sprinting to his offside. Now looks like he'll tuck it and run. Back to the right, gets around the corner and steps out of bounds at the 10-yard line. He's got wheels, really.
I was about ready to say, you don't expect his kind of speed.
Yeah, for 6'3", 200 pounds, he has that long stride, but that's twice now that he stepped away from Toa Taua, and Taua's one of their speedy backs that they use, especially on the edge trying to get to the quarterback, and that's twice now he's blown by him.
Really impressive run from Gillum. I think Derry and I didn't necessarily expect that type of athleticism, and here's Martin, and Martin picks up a couple yards. In the spirit of full disclosure, I've been friends with the Gillum family for probably about 20 years. My family has. And I ran into his parents at the Westlake Modern Day Thursday night game, I think it was last year, and I said to his dad, Jeff, I said, Jeff, where does he get this athleticism from? He says, I have no idea. But impressive on that run to pick up the first down. Now Gillum will look to throw to the end zone. There's a backside blitz. Going to try to get away. Penalty flag thrown. He throws for the touchdown, but this is more than likely coming back, guys.
Yeah, it's in the vicinity of holding. Nobody on the Lancer side is celebrating, so barring they pick up the flag, which they won't, it's going to be holding.
Yes, it is holding against Thousand Oaks.
And now that's significant. It's instead of second and goal at the 8, or I guess in theory a touchdown, although the holding helped result in the touchdown, it's now second and goal from the 18. As we mentioned about Lompoc earlier, they backed themselves up and had the punt. Now you have TO, they're getting in the red zone. Last time they got in the red zone, quick touchdown. This time they get in the red zone, short gain on first down, and now a 10-yard holding penalty.
Well, every pass has been really short. It's not quite the offensive passing game that I thought I'd see from Thousand Oaks.
I wonder if the wind is playing a factor in that. You guys can obviously hear it at home. Tons of time for Gillum to throw, and that's nearly intercepted as he short hops that. Michael Taylor got a paw on it, but just couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, fortunately for TO, it was underthrown so much that the defensive back couldn't quite get a break on it and grab it out of the air. Taylor nearly picked it off, but just not a smart throw. We've seen a smart game so far by Gillum. That was the first big mistake he's made. Fortunately for Thousand Oaks, it didn't cost them. It sets him up in third and goal, but that could have been a pick.
Here's Gillum on third down, looking left to Howell. Now he's pressured, throws it toward the corner of the end zone for Howell. Kevin Howell announces himself in this game, and he might have announced something to the opposing defensive back after the play. There's a penalty flag down, but what a catch from Howell. I believe the touchdown will stand.
And what a play by Gillum to throw across his body, get away from the defense, and then have the touch with 2 defenders in the corner to get it to Howell. Great catch, but what a play. After nearly throwing the interception on second down, that was a way to make up for it by really gunning it in. Perfect touch. You couldn't have asked for a better throw there.
And he just waited for the player to come open. The penalty eventually does go against Lompoc and will be assessed on the kickoff. 12-7. And I think this is smart from TO. No need to go for 2 and try and get the points back now. It's a long game. Kick the PAT and take a 6-point lead.
And the goalposts are still not quite even right now.
I'm not sure how that looks on television, but the goalpost on that side is far from even. And if the game potentially comes down to a big kick on that end, in that end, we're going to keep an eye on that goalpost for you guys.
Yeah, they were trying to work on that earlier. You don't see that too much, but they're a little bit uneven right at the moment. But hey, both teams have the same goalpost to use, so as long as both teams are going towards that end zone a couple times, I guess there's no home field advantage.
37th career touchdown for Kevin Howell.
Been a great career. We saw him as a sophomore. Again, it's the last time we were here for a Thousand Oaks game, just for various reasons. We wanted to get out and cover Thousand Oaks, but a lot of their big games were taken by the CIF-Southern Section's lead rights holder, which is Fox Sports. And this kickoff will be taken from the 45-yard line. So Lompoc will more than likely have poor starting field position at the 20-yard line. Remember, they scored when they took over on the Thousand Oaks 32 after the fumble on the punt return. You got to think this will just be an easy touchback.
Yeah, you'd imagine so, unless they just completely have faith that he can kick it so high and get the hang time. But there's no reason to even attempt that. Just drill it, let them get it at the 20.
And Lompoc will take over from there. 54 seconds to go in the first quarter, probably, which means we'll have about 2 running plays, and then we'll be headed to the second period on the VCS Preps Game of the Week, brought to you by the Ventura County Star. We will bring you up to speed on what is happening with other area teams in the postseason between quarters. This is the CIF-Southern Section Northern Division quarterfinals.
And you mentioned probably 2 runs here. You have Towell back there, Chris Green who had the touchdown, Torrey Sims. Those are the 3 names we expect to hear a lot of here tonight. And for Sims, you're a senior quarterback. You know how important this is. And there's the one thing that we want to bring up now. It's playoff time. This is the last game for half the teams, whether it's Lompoc tonight or whether it's Thousand Oaks. One of them, your season stays on. The other one, you go home. And for Lompoc, they come down here on the road up from, about 90 miles away or 90 minutes away roughly?
A little bit more than that, I would say.
Yeah, they don't want this to be their season over. Look at this crowd. It's even filled in more so over the last few minutes. They expect to be fighting here in 4 quarters. And last possession went very well. You have to think that they feel like, okay, first quarter, we made 1 or 2 mistakes, but we're right in this ball game.
Toatawa carries for 4 yards. I think it all comes down with a running game like this. It all comes down to first down, doesn't it? What you do on first down, how many yards you pick up on first down. Lompoc got 5 yards on first down and second down. Let's see if they'll elect to run another play.
Yeah, defensively, it's all about winning first down and getting negative plays. For offense, it's the exact opposite. Keep getting positive plays, even if it's 1-2 yards, not that big of a deal, and then getting that first and manageable. 1st and 4, 1st and 5, 1st and 3. You keep doing that, you're going to move the sticks, you're going to put up some points.
At the end of 1, the Thousand Oaks Lancers lead the Lompoc Braves 13-7 on the VCS Preps Game of the Week, brought to you by the Ventura County Star. Let's take a look at the other games going on via our Twitter account. Follow us on Twitter at VCS Preps. That is at VCS Preps. Palos Verdes 7, Pacifica 3 after 1. PV, remember, they're the defending Western Division champs. Camarillo leads St. Joseph 14-0 with 1:21 left in the first quarter. Redondo Union on top of Oxnard, 7-0, a 44-yard touchdown run for Redondo Union to put them out in front. It will be interesting to see how Oxnard does when they're asked to play from behind and may not be able to rely on that run game.
The Oxnard can throw the ball.
They can throw the ball.
They've got a great receiver in Kilgore, and I saw Weiss. He's definitely a threat to catching the ball too.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't see Oxnard really being forced to throw the ball last week. It was really about Caldera and big plays he made to start the second half. He had 5 carries for, I want to say, close to 90 yards and 2 touchdowns to start the second half. Carry by Chris Green. 600 yards on the year for Green.
Yeah, 1 touchdown here tonight, a 25-yarder, and then this time he picked up about 3 yards on first down. But for Lompoc so far, I like the pace of their offense. I think overall, the one thing that killed them on their first possession was the penalties. If they limit those penalties, they're going to be moving the football. Now the key will be, can they score touchdowns, because we know what they're going to do. It's not an exotic offense. It's not anything that the defense doesn't know what's coming. The problem is you have to be so fundamentally sound, and your eye discipline has to be tremendous. You have to be willing to know where the ball is at all times. You can't be guessing against this type of offense at all.
Well, I tell you what, that Tao, boy, he is just tough to bring down. He's a strong man.
Yeah,
just a sophomore.
Sophomore,
he's not a man.
205 pounds.
He's not a man, Derry. He might look like one at 205 pounds, but
he runs like a man.
He definitely does. And Kevin Howell started on him, and the tackle was ultimately finished off by number 51 for Thousand Oaks, Eric Mullen. Tower will be the running back on the far side of the formation. Tower runs again. Tower, a shoestring tackle by Howell, and it's a first down on 3rd and 3.
Yeah, good 9-yard gain and a big-time play. And we know that we're going to see a lot of number 35 tonight. We mentioned most of these backs are pretty balanced, and not one of them gets 20-plus carries. I think because it's the playoffs now, that'll start the shift, though. If, let's say, it's Green or Tawa or even Sims for that matter, if one of them starts to be an explosive player that's picking off 8-10 yards every carry, they're going to keep going back to that.
Tawa again on first down, and he gets 5 yards.
And they're past midfield in positive territory, and that's where they want to be. Obviously, their first possession didn't work out, and then they punted the football. They got the turnover, and that resulted in 7 points. This time it's been more of a consistent pace and a good drive.
Well, to be fair, it appeared that Lompoc would be able to move the football in their opening drive, but it was just that devastating holding penalty that really put him behind the 8 ball. Here's Green. Green runs off the right guard, and Green will bring up a 3rd down and 2. And I wonder, will Thousand Oaks be able to get off the field at all in 3rd down and short defensively?
We're going to find out here. Assuming there's no penalty, we'll get to figure out pretty quickly if that's possible.
And maybe 4-down territory as well?
Yeah, I would think that that's likely, especially if it's 4th and inches or 4th and 1. I think you have to roll the dice and have faith in your offense and your ability to pick up 3 feet.
T.O. brings in a bit more size. Connor Pettick, 265 pounds, to help block up front on 3rd down and 2. And hauled down in the backfield by number 84, I think it is, Devin Page.
Nothing doing on that play. They stuffed him as soon as the ball was handed off. That play was stopped. That was impressive. That time the defensive front really stepped up.
Better than they have all night, really. It was the best penetration we've seen from Thousand Oaks thus far this evening defensively. Lompoc set to go for it, and on a big 4th down and 2, our biggest against your biggest, and Tawa picks up the first down. They could stop them on one play with just a couple yards to go, but asking this TO defense to really hold them up on back-to-back plays, short yardage, very difficult to do.
And Connor Pettick, the big tackle inside, 6'4", 265 for Thousand Oaks. He didn't win that battle up front that time. On 3rd down, he had that penetration. That time he was pushed off the line enough that it opened things up for Tawa to just run in between that guard, center guard, A-gap, and pick up about 4 yards and get the first down.
On first down, it is Tawa. He's getting the majority of the carries tonight. And a nice job from Thousand Oaks. Pettick's made a big difference. They brought in the big offensive lineman to provide some size up front, really at the initial point of impact, and that'll go for just a yard.
Yeah, that time he won that battle, and he has to be a tough player to go up against. If you look at this Lompoc offensive line, they're big, but so is Pettick. So it's really size against size up front there, with 74 the center on one side and 74 the defensive tackle, or maybe even a nose at times for T.O.
It's been a long drive, nearly 5 minutes, a little misdirection. Here's the quarterback, Sims. Sims gets down to the 35, and he's tossed to the ground by Kevin Howell. For a wide receiver, he's quite a tackler.
Really is. You know, he's been a 3-year varsity player.
I remember when Case Cookus was throwing him the football in a game we saw here, Derry, a few years ago, and he was one of those as a sophomore where you thought, wow, this kid is electric. He's going to be special. And, well, here we are a couple years later, and he is both of those things.
He's one of the top 10 all-time in Ventura County in any category receiving that you could think of.
3rd and 4. green. Gets to the 33. 4th and short again, but not as short. 4th and 3. And Lompoc will bring in an extra blocker, Isaac Black, the junior. And Toa checks back into the game as well on 4th and, I think it's closer to 4th and 3. The line to gain is just to the left, just this side of the 30.
Yeah, probably a long 2 or a short 3, whatever way you want to describe it. They picked one of these up just a few plays ago, though.
Pitch to Toa. Toa, a lot of room, gets beyond the tackle and to the next level. 1st and 10 for Toa inside the 20.
And he showed great patience there, not cutting immediately. If he cut inside, that's probably stopped. Instead, he allowed his blockers to get up, block the second level, and then he cut back on the side, moved his way up, and that's what you need to do in this option. Sometimes it's not about hitting that home run initially. Wait to see what forms up front, and then just have that vision to pick up. He knew he didn't need 7 yards there. He ended up picking up more than that, but nonetheless, if he cut inside, it would have been right near the sticks. Instead, he bounced outside, saw the vision, and had a really nice gain.
Drive has lasted more than 6 minutes. Here's Tala inside the 10, takes on a tackler, tackled in the end zone. Touchdown Lompoc, a 19-yard score for Toa. And the Braves have tied it up.
Well, Deuce, you said earlier, how about that size and how about his boost whenever he gets the ball? That time he dragged 1 or 2 defenders the last 4 or 5 yards. That was really impressive.
And did you notice he had sat out for a couple plays, got his legs back, and he was fresh for those 2 carries.
And now it's Lompoc's side to try to make it with the uneven goalpost here on the end zone.
That is up and through, and the Braves are back in front. 14-13.
Well, you know, it was a missed extra point last week that played a big role in the win over Paso Robles.
Wouldn't that be fortuitous for this Lompoc team if they were to beat TO by a point and they advance to the semifinals in both games on 2 missed PATs? There's a lot of football left to be played. You know, I don't always, in my prep for these games, I'll look at the senior stars and see where they are in terms of recruiting, where they might be going. Someone who I definitely did not have on my radar is Toa, but he's already rated as a 4-star athlete and one of the best sophomores on the West Coast, and we see why. No surprise there.
And you have to think he's going to keep growing, too. He's 6 foot 205 right at the moment. He'll probably, or 5'10", he'll probably be over 6 feet, get up to 225, 230, and we see him as an edge rusher or as a potential running back. He's pretty dynamic on both sides.
His older brother is a defensive lineman at UCLA. Played at Lompoc, of course. The big 4th and 2. Crucial for Toa. And again, a lot of it has really come back to that turnover. Thousand Oaks got their stop. They got off the field. They had a chance to add to their lead. And the fumble has really proved to be an important part of this game thus far.
You know, we haven't really talked much about the running back for Thousand Oaks, Perry Martin. I've got him for 96 yards already.
Yeah, he's been good. He bounced, I think, 30-some yards on his first or second carry, and then he's had a bunch of 10, 12, 15-yard carries. He's been the star of this offensive show. There's no doubt about that.
Martin gets 3 this time.
And then you mentioned recruiting, and then obviously you look at a guy like Hal. He plays both sides of the football. He's committed to Nevada, and he'll go up to the Mountain West probably as a corner. So he's dynamic on both sides. You have to think, worst case, they get him up there first year or 2 in the program. He's probably at least a special teams contributor at the bare minimum.
Without a doubt. Here's Martin on 2nd down. Martin picks up a 1st down this time around. Everybody, at least in Ventura County, wants to see, certainly not in these stands, but everybody in Ventura County wants to see that Camarillo Thousand Oaks CIF championship game. Long ways to go, though. But Camarillo leads 21-0 over St. Joseph, 8:51 in the second quarter. they are in complete control.
Yeah, they've been tremendous. The game we saw them, they were just on fire. This Camarillo team is something special, and I know that they're a little bit smaller and they're very athletic, but man, they are dynamic and they have so many playmakers where they were just, in terms of being well coached, I'm not sure I saw a better coached team all season than Camarillo.
Well, they looked a little like a mix-up on that play. The running back, I think, went the wrong way, so Gilliam had to kind of take it himself.
Still gets a few. Now Gilliam will throw, and he completes to Kevin Howell. And Howell picks up a first down.
Now Howell makes the catch, but how about this just in terms of Thousand Oaks? I know that there's a guy, Richard Mullaney now, he transferred in from Oregon State, he's now at Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
He's a Thousand Oaks guy too. It's kind of cool for this program. They don't get a lot of kids to go to the SEC, but you're watching potentially the best team in the country week in and week out, and he's a key contributor, starting receiver on that Alabama team. So maybe Howell can kind of use that and become a big-time Division I player the same way Mullaney has.
He was someone who we covered closely here, Richard Mullaney. Star on those Thousand Oaks teams. Again, the Lancers with the lone CIF title in 1987. They reached the semifinals in 64 and 89. And Lompoc takes a timeout, although they feel that potentially this could be a year where they are capable of getting back to a CIF championship. They certainly have a tough road ahead of them tonight against this Lompoc Braves team.
Of course, and right now, the last two possessions for the Braves, two very good scoring drives, and they've done it with that rushing attack. And you've mentioned, Deuce, for TO, it's been the strength of their team has been Perry Martin. He's been the key contributor, but I like what I've seen so far out of Gilliam. He's been very effective. One mistake that ended up not costing the team, then he made up for it the next play with the touchdown. So two teams so far, two pretty dynamic offenses, and they've both been pretty efficient.
Inside of 5 minutes to go, I mean, it really is unbelievable. Lompoc will hold the ball for 6.5 minutes, and then Thousand Oaks takes over for, they've had the ball now for 1 minute and 19 seconds. It's just such a contrast of styles. And now Gilliam will look to run on second down. He fumbles the football. The Braves say they have it. We'll see what happens at the bottom of the pile. And it appears Thousand Oaks has recovered the fumble. No, it's Braves football. Lompoc comes up with it, the second big turnover of this first half. 1st and 10 Braves on the TO 44-yard line.
Yeah, that time a delayed call. They had to make sure who came up with it was the legal man coming out of the scrum. And you're right, Thousand Oaks kind of started celebrating as if it's their ball. And then all of a sudden, the officials go, you know what? It's the away team's ball. And Lompoc now very, very happy here on this side of the field. Right in front of us, this crowd went crazy.
1st and 10 from the 44. Tremendous field position for this Braves offense. Here he is, Toa. And Toa makes his way down to the 36-yard line. Another nice run on first down from Toa.
And now the difference today has been a missed extra point and now 2 turnovers. And we saw Lompoc capitalize once for a touchdown off of a turnover. They're going to try making it 2 for 2. And if you know them, they're going to try draining this clock. They're not afraid to take the extra 4 minutes to score here. And if that's the case, maybe build an 8-point lead going to the half on the road. That would say something.
And now Thousand Oaks will take a timeout with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. I know it's a very difficult question to answer, but how do you stop this run?
It's eye discipline, and it's knowing your assignments, playing assignment football. You see athletic defenses all the time. It usually probably takes them 20, 25 minutes of game time before they start to figure an option offense out. But eventually, the outside linebackers, the corners, everyone on that outside has to be able to read the quarterback, know where that ball's going. And then on the other side, too, is if you can win that battle up front, if you get penetration on your defensive line, that makes things so much easier for the back seven. So a little combination of everything. It's really playing good defense, but more so assignment football. You can't afford to guess against this offense. You have to be extremely disciplined and track that football at all times.
Thousand Oaks scored with 54 seconds left in the first quarter. And since then, with the exception of 1 minute and 28 seconds, Lompoc has had the football the entire time. And those possession statistics, we talked about it a lot in the pregame, those statistics are really going to challenge the endurance of this TO defense.
And it's second and short. You mentioned winning on first down. That's what Lompoc has consistently done this entire quarter.
And Toa able to pick up the first down. Page hauls him down on the play. But first and 10 Braves at the 32.
Yeah, that's become a routine thing for you, Danny, to just simply say, Tower for the first down.
Easy.
It's been that way, and now, as Deuce said, he's getting a little bit of a breather. That's kind of their strategy. Keep him on first and second down, get a first, let him rest 1 or 2 plays, get him back out on the field, shuffle in and out of that lineup, keep them as fresh as possible.
Torrey Sims just really hasn't had a ton to do tonight at the quarterback position.
Except make all the great reads.
Yeah, no, he has. Here's Green. And Tawa comes out, and Green just takes over. If there's one thing I'm recognizing about Tawa, he's running nearly the same play almost every time he's getting the football. It looks like he's running off of the right tackle. I'd be interested to see if he'll carry the ball to the left side at all, basically.
Yeah.
Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, right now he's definitely lined up primarily on that right side of the formation, and it's worked so well that I don't really see why they would necessarily quit doing that. But
no.
You're right, eventually maybe you have him cut back, have some sort of counterbalance where you take him on the left side and see if you can get this defense, as I said, guessing as opposed to seeing where he's going.
Sims wants to throw, and Sims throws it away.
And it looked like they got away with a potential pass interference there. Maybe the ball was considered deemed uncatchable, but the receiver downfield for Lompoc, it was Nico Sapp. He got drilled pretty hard as that ball was in the air.
It looked to me like a twisting of legs, but we had to both of us look at our roster and say, wait, there's a receiver on this team? I didn't realize that.
Exactly, for the most part. We know they have receivers, we just haven't had to call them all night.
Now they're going from the shotgun, the Braves are. Sims with Toa to his right. And a penalty flag thrown, and that will be a illegal procedure penalty against the Braves.
Yeah, that time the slot receiver, Michael Taylor, just took off as the ball was being snapped. So definitely a penalty, and that's what got them in trouble on their first possession were 2 penalties. They had a movement penalty and then a holding. Now they throw in the fact that there's another 5-yard penalty. That's really been the only thing stopping the Braves. But now it's 3rd and 17. Fortunately for the Braves, though, they pick up 9 or 10 here. You can maybe go for 4th down because you are fairly deep in TO territory. But if you pass here and it's incomplete, then you probably have to punt, knowing that you're 4th and 17.
Well, it looks like they are confused, and now they'll take a timeout. I was trying to analyze the formation, and really very little sense could be made of that. 3:08 to go on the VCS Preps Game of the Week, brought to you by the Ventura County Star. Danny Page, the Deuce, Gary Eads, and Kent Brown. Bishop Amat leads Oaks Christian 7-0, a 6-play, 76-yard drive. It's a slugfest down in the South Bay. Redondo Union leading Oxnard just 7-0. Jackets performing well defensively.
Well, Oxnard's been a team that's really done better in the second half. They keep pounding the ball and wearing down the opposing defenses.
Yeah, we kind of had a running joke about them for probably the first 6-7 weeks.
A running
here, which
joke?
Is the 4th quarter.
A running joke!
Oh, wow. Wow, Derry.
There you go.
That
There's a
was
pun on that one. But, yeah, they were really a 4th quarter team for so many weeks. And so now you kind of get to see it where can they be that team here when it comes to being in the playoffs.
They were sensational in the second half of last week's game.
Well, they've got a coach who knows how to get teams to section championship games.
They would play Calabasas on the road next week. If Calabasas can get by Lawndale, that game's scoreless. Sims will try to stretch it outside to the left. And this is a tough situation. For Lompoc, you have the wind at your back, but I doubt you have a kicker that can make a 52-yarder.
And it's also 4th and 13, so it's not even like it's 4th and medium. I think, yeah, you punt it here, try to pin it. This is where a directional punt would be nice. We don't get to see a lot of that coffin corner anymore.
We're going to get a field goal attempt.
Yeah, they're going to attempt one.
Javier De La Cueva, the senior, from 52 yards.
Well, this is actually like a punt, though.
Here's De La Cueva. Looks like
Whoa,
it'll come
close.
up just short, and it is wide left. It had the leg, and again, that's the corner, Kent, where the goalpost seems slanted down to the left by a good foot. It almost snuck in.
When he kicked it towards that side, I was thinking, is he going to really make this because it's slanted a little bit? It nearly happened that way. That would have been something if, even though you're on the road, you kind of get the friendly home touch of the field goals being slanted. So, yeah, nearly pulled that one off. So it's good to know, though, in the future, if they get past the 30, you have to feel pretty likely that they're already in field goal range. He had the distance there, just didn't quite make it.
Only if they're going from left to right. Tonight it's going to be impossible to kick field goals from right to left, I think.
Yeah, I know, I'm try to get out and golf as much as possible. And I know when the wind's there, you have to hit those low irons. You have to really strike the ball low. You can't be putting it up in the air that high.
And there's some kicking greatness in your family, isn't there, as well?
Yeah, my older brother kicked at Miami. He was a kicker punter. My twin brother kicked Terrell Pryor's last ever high school football loss. My brother made a game-winning field goal. So yeah, those guys, they kicked a lot. I mainly just played other sports, so I was not really much of a kicker. I was out on the field as much as possible.
And now in the booth, here's
Exactly.
Stockstad. Stockstad with the catch, picks up a first down to the 38-yard line, 1 minute and 58 seconds to go. Remember, Lompoc will receive the second half kickoff, so I actually find this to be a very important drive for the Lancers going into halftime. Gillum with time, now flush, he'll run to the right, and this
Flag.
will be coming back for a
Two
holding,
flags, yeah.
holding penalty.
It was absolutely a hold right in front of the officials and in front of Max Gillum. An easy call to be made, and this crowd knew it. They were suspecting it, and then it was thrown. So it was an evident flag, and you mentioned this is a big possession for the Lancers, but that's a big blow to this offensive possession.
And again, that's going to be like a 17-yard penalty because it was in the
deep
backfield.
in the backfield.
Well, at least you have Howell out on the field. I feel like worst case, you get in second or third and long, throw it his way and see if he can come up with it.
And it is first down. First and 28 for TO. But at the same time, this is a team that can pick up a lot of yardage in big chunks. Even 8 to 10 yards would certainly help your cause. Here's Gillum. Gillum now looking to stretch the field and overthrows his intended target. Richard Foster, the defensive back for Lompoc, was the only player to really make contact with the pass attempt.
Yeah, right read, just not necessarily a pinpoint throw. And that time, the drop-off was there. Had he caught it, it probably would have been maybe a 7-yard gain. Maybe you get back some of the yardage you just gave up. But great defense that time. There was nobody open downfield, and then even right at the end, there was slight pressure, which probably made that an errant throw. So really good job by the Braves defense there.
This will be a run for Martin. Martin works his way to the 23. I think that was a really smart running play for Thousand Oaks because it'll drain the clock for the Braves or would have forced them to take their final timeout. Plus a little breathing room in case you do punt. Make things difficult for Lompoc to add to their advantage now. It stands at 14-13. Remember, the snap was high on the opening PAT, less than 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah, now if the Braves can get a stop here, if it's a short gain, you call a timeout. And if it's an incompletion, then you get to save that timeout, and you'll get the ball back with at least a little bit of time to do damage.
And Gillum's going to run to force Lompoc to take that timeout. And they take it with 46.8 seconds left. That was some home timekeeping.
Yeah, they were trying to get that in with about 51-52 left, and instead it trickled down about another 5 seconds. So I'm not sure if they'll add that time back on, but yeah, definitely for Lompoc, coach was trying to get a call, Coach Jones, and the side judges called it, but kept running a few more seconds. But great first half for the Braves. If you look at it early on, I think we thought, okay, it's 7-0 and then a punt. This game might very well be TO's for the taking, but ever since that first turnover, Danny, as you said earlier, it's been a different game. There's been confidence here on the sideline from the team in white and blue, and for the Lancers, not as much confidence this quarter. They've barely been on the field. They haven't moved the ball with consistency. It'll be interesting going into the half how the Lancers adjust, as opposed to, we know what Lompoc's going to keep doing. There's not a lot of adjustments to be made offensively at all.
Well, but I mean, Thousand Oaks hasn't been outplayed. It's the turnovers that have killed them, or else this game might be flipped their way. I mean, it could have been 21-7 or 20-7 right now.
Absolutely, but just 2 turnovers in their own half of the field, and now the wind will settle for Gillum's punt, snap a bit high. Great kick.
You mentioned the wind going this side. The wind caught that a bit.
Yeah, it did. It extended high in the air. Lompoc will take over from the 44-yard line. And to be honest, if I were the Braves at this point, with T.O. only having 2 timeouts, I would consider just taking a knee and calling it a day.
Well, I would run it and see if you can bust one and break one deep, because you have the ability. You saw a 25-yard touchdown from Green earlier. We've seen Tawa break a few for 10, 15-yard gains. You're near midfield. If you can break one down to, let's say, the 35 or 40, and then bust one down inside the red zone, you spike it, and then you have a couple throws into the end zone. If you get stopped on first down, then maybe you just go into the half. But I'd at least run the ball with one of those guys and see if you can break one.
They wouldn't have called timeout on 3rd down if they didn't intend on running something.
Well, you reassess field position, and now it looks like Lompoc is lined up in the shotgun, appearing that they will throw the football. They set up a screen pass. Sims completes that to Richard Foster, and Foster gets out of bounds at the 43. It's a first down for the Braves.
Yeah,
25.6 seconds left.
And a 12-yard gain, which is significant. So that was a big-time play to pick up good yardage. They fake the jet sweep, and then you just keep that receiver open on the other side. You get it over to Foster, and now, as I said, you can run the ball here once or twice and maybe see what happens.
Well, you have to pick up a first down or get out of bounds.
Hey, the kid wasn't that far off in that 52-yard too.
That's a good
Great
point. Pick up another 10 yards, they might go for another one.
5 wide for Sims, looks to his left side, has some time. Now he'll throw across the field, and it's nearly intercepted. Foster got one hand on it again. Second and 10.
Max Gillum was in the defensive secondary.
Yeah, he nearly picked that off. I think had it not been tipped by Foster, Gillum might have been able to sit back there and get that.
Gillum in the defensive backfield, Howell as well. The wind really howling here at Thousand Oaks High School. 8 p.m. on this Friday night in November. Sims pressured, rolling to his left, now looking to throw, and it's complete down to the 23-yard line. The clock will stop to move the chains with 5.9 seconds remaining.
Spike and a field goal. That's probably where they're headed.
Sims gets his team up to the line, takes the snap, spikes the ball, 1.7 seconds remaining. And now Javier De La Cueva will have another chance. He just missed from 52. He'll certainly have the leg in this situation.
Yeah, just a 39-yard attempt, so we know he has the leg. Now it's a matter of, can he get this in? And then if he makes this, you have a nice little 4-point cushion going into the half.
And you get the football. Some confusion on the Lompoc side in terms of protection. 1.7 seconds left. Lompoc looking to add to their lead. The snap low. The kick has the distance. And
Wide.
the kick is up, and it is good.
Oh,
So Lompoc will take a 17-13 lead into halftime. A well-executed drive to close things out. And the Braves, the number 3 seed, lead on the road over the Thousand Oaks Lancers, 17-13. This is the VCS Preps Game of the Week, brought to you by the Ventura County Star. We will take a timeout. We'll be back with the second half.
need to look at him anyway. He's not that beautiful.
No.
This is something I noticed when I was listening and I was watching you guys. Anytime you guys turn your head towards the end, the wind starts hitting the microphone really hard. So keep your head going forward. You're okay.
Seriously.
Send me the bill.
Guys, do sound good though. I gotta give you that.
Thanks, boss. Appreciate it.
He's still sitting
Speak for yourself.
Oh, you are? Take care.
I'm not gonna need this and all that much. I'm gonna keep it. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your halftime entertainment, let's welcome the varsity dance team. We would like to congratulate the football team for making it to the quarterfinals.
Oh my God. I like ones
Your Thousand Oaks varsity dance team.
there are art markers. You think the Rams are going to come to LA, right? San Diego's going to come to LA?
and now we direct your attention to the field for your varsity cheerleaders.
Oh, sorry, I was just standing right in the way. Especially when you're mixing
Russell Athletic is the official apparel supplier and proud partner of the CIF-Southern Section. Together we are.
the visitor bleachers ain't much. Down here, they had a bunch of we were ahead by a point and they scored. That's why, yeah, because I mean, you're right. When you do that, it's coming right at me.
Ready?
Welcome back to Thousand Oaks High School on the VCS Preps Game of the Week presented by the Ventura County Star, Danny Page, the Deuce, Derry Eads, and Kent Brown. And big noise, big news, and big noise coming out of the Central Coast, Deuce. Jake Constantine has been ejected from Camarillo's game against St. Joseph Santa Maria. They lead 21-0. They might be able to hang on this week, especially with the strength of that running game. But it appears that arguably the county's top quarterback will be out for the semifinal if they are to advance.
Well, he will be out.
Yes.
I mean, that's by CIF rules.
Is there an
he's out.
appeals process?
There's
or
no
anything
appeal.
Like that? Okay.
If you're out for unsportsmanlike conduct, you're ejected. That is automatic. You are not eligible for the next game.
So Camarillo may advance, but they would have to play without their star signal caller in a CIF semifinal.
I would think they might go with Colby Stevens, who has quarterbacked before. In fact, I think he quarterbacked 2 years ago when Constantine got hurt. I think he came in and was the quarterback of the team. And they've got some really good running backs, so they might just go run.
With Stevens and leading the way, you have Aaron Lamb, obviously. Isaiah Otis is back now.
And Bash.
And Casey Bash. If they're healthy, it would be a really interesting game to have next week, potentially in the semifinals if Jake Constantine, he is out, if Camarillo is able to advance. T.O., the question is, will they advance? A lot of work to do against the Lancers, Kent, against this Lompoc running game. I saw the T.O. staff as I made my way around the facility at halftime, and they were whiteboarding, trying to determine the best way to stop this Lompoc running attack, but it's easier said than done.
It is, because they know what's coming. Then you need to be able to tell your players, you have to watch this, you have to watch this, you have to know what's going on. But more so, you have to make the tackles and you have to be able to read the quarterback. And that's been what Sims been effective. He's getting it into the hands of Green, who has a touchdown. And then you have Tawa, who's 1 or 2 carries away from 100 yards at this point. Those are the two guys you have to stop. You think the TO has the personnel to do it, but right now they haven't shown that outside of 1 or 2 plays that they've been consistent enough to stop them 3 straight times.
That kickoff hit an absolute wall of wind. I think that Dallas Canley did a nice job to actually haul it in. And one thing you can't do against a running team like Lompoc is give them a short field. And that's precisely what TO did on multiple occasions when the Braves were able to score. Now, if they want 6, they'll have to go 74 yards.
Yeah, points off turnovers were significant. 2 scores for Lompoc were because of turnovers, and that was really the difference, Deuce, the 2 turnovers.
Well, especially that the second one really didn't lose in the points, but it set up Lompoc good field position to where they were able to get a field goal 1 possession later. But obviously that first one where they fumbled on the punt really got the Lompoc team some with confidence in scoring that, hey, we can do this against Thousand Oaks.
Yeah, and you just love the way Tawa's running. He's been such a force on the offensive side. He's been active on defense, but for a sophomore, he just seems ahead of where he should be at that age. And then you like the decision Sims has made. He's only had to put it in the air a couple times, but he had that big completion there right before half where it got him in good field goal range. So I like both quarterbacks so far in this game. Gilliam for Thousand Oaks and then Sims for Lompoc. They've both been pretty effective as seniors.
Gilliam headed to Cal Berkeley. He will graduate early and head north. Up and down year for the Bears. It'll be interesting for Max Gilliam to get into Berkeley in January 2016, see where the program stands. Here's a big 3rd down and 3. Everyone in the box for TO, and the Lancers come up with a big stop. The football is fumbled as well, but it is recovered by the Braves, and I think Lompoc will be forced to punt on 4th down and 4, and that is a huge stop for TO.
They went with the dive, and there was penetration up front, stopping that initial burst. So a great job by Thousand Oaks. Now the wind will be away from them here on this punt, so it should be a pretty nice punt for Lompoc, but a great 3 and out to start that 3rd quarter. Kind of unexpected, if I have to be honest. I probably figured Lompoc would at least get 1 or 2 first downs. Huge defensive start for Thousand Oaks, and they needed it because they've been reeling since that whole 2nd quarter where they didn't get much going, mainly because Lompoc's offense was on the field the whole time.
Oh, what a great punt.
What a tremendous punt. It will be down at the 5-yard line. That's a 63-yarder, certainly aided by the wind. The return man, Steele Ledford, just looked up and watched it sail over his head, but the Lancers, 94 yards to go.
Great punt. He probably went about 43 in the air and then another 20 as it skipped and stopped right at about the 6-yard line. great play. We know the wind's to your back, and when you can get it over the receiving team, that's the benefit you'll have there. And now it's up to Gillum. It's time for this Thousand Oaks offense to get the ball back. I know that they're deep in their own territory, but they have weapons. And you mentioned Deuce at the half. We were discussing this off air. How good of a first half Perry Martin had. He dominated when they gave him the ball.
13 carries for 115 yards. And you would think against the wind going against them that they're going to hand it off to Perry quite frequently this possession.
And they give it to Perry Martin. And Martin is beyond the 20. Martin hauled down beyond the 30. And who is there to make the tackle but Toa Taua?
25-yard gain, and that's what Martin's done so well. He's averaging close to 9 yards a carry, and that time he bursted one for 25. That's a significant carry. He's had a bunch of 10, 15, 20. He had a 33-yard carry. That's probably his second largest of the game. He's been active, and I understand defensively they had to make adjustments at the half, but I think one smart adjustment offensively this half will be keep giving it to Perry Martin until the defense stops him.
Keep an eye on the corners specifically as T.O. spreads it out. They're looking inside to Martin in the pre-snap. And I think that if T.O. continues to focus on the run, it's really going to open up the passing game.
Play action will be there, whether it's Howell or one of the other receivers, maybe Ledford or Stockstad. They'll have options on the outside if this defense has to bite and believe in the run. And based on the way that Martin's ran, you think those corners and the safeties will cheat up once or twice, and that's where you can get favorable matchups on the outside and play action.
It would be tough with this win, though, to really throw a deep ball. I think that it is that strong in terms of gusts. Here's a short third and a yard.
What affects them with the wind, too, you back, too.
Of course, it's just a better opportunity or a higher likelihood, I should say, that the ball would be overthrown. Here's Martin, and Martin has a first down up to the 43-yard line. So Thousand Oaks has done it on the ground. They've picked up 37 yards on this drive.
And I think it's been a relatively balanced game and just a good attack plan for Thousand Oaks for the most part. They've missed a couple opportunities. They did get the one touchdown that got them an early lead, and then they were able to answer later and then make the PAT at that point. But this is an offense that hasn't necessarily been stymied. They just haven't been on the field a whole lot.
Here's a design run for Gillum. And Max is right near the midfield stripe. Boy, you guys could have seen Mike Lieben and his staff. That was an intense whiteboarding session.
Animated.
Very animated. And they were trying to determine how to stop the various different ways in which this Lompoc team runs the football. Here's Martin. Martin beyond midfield. And Martin's very close to the sticks, and Kent says he has the first down.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah, and he got it by about a half a yard. Martin's, I mentioned that early in the game, but it's nice to know you have a running back. When he's contacted, he falls forward. That time, if he's knocked back, it's going to be a short yardage situation. Instead, he falls a half yard forward, picks up the first down. It's always like seeing running backs do that. When you can lower your shoulder at contact, that's what you get.
4 wide for Gillum. Gillum give to Martin. Tougher yards now for Martin, but it has to be opening things up on the edge as he's down to the 40-yard line. This is such an important drive for Mike Lieben, Max Gillum, and the Lancers on their season, and so far so good.
Yeah, and you know if you're on the other side and you're Lompoc, part of you, if you're Coach Jones, you have to at least be tipping your cap saying, okay, you're kind of doing what we do, which is power running, run the football, eat the clock. This is not the typical Lancers drive where they waste 4 or 5 minutes, but they started on their own 6, and they've been a run-based team, and on this time just wasting clock, but it's been positive yards after positive yards, and you have to like where they're at. They put themselves in another third and short situation, which is where you want to be.
And this is 4 down territory. It has been a very Lompoc-like drive in a lot of ways, hasn't it, with the time that has elapsed on the clock?
And Gillum is so effective in this situation because you can run it with him, you can have him scramble out and move to his right, and then have a pass read option. There's a lot you can do with him.
Which is precisely what's happening here in the design quarterback draw. He just dives forward and picks up a few yards, gets beyond the sticks, and that's a first down for the Thousand Oaks Lancers.
Yeah, we're pretty much at the midway point now of this third quarter, and There hasn't been anything in terms of scoring, but this has been a great drive after the big-time 63-yard punt by Lompoc. It's been a good answer. Gillum's been able to get his team in short situations. He's been good with his feet, and then it's just been, for the most part, the Perry Martin show on 1st and 2nd down.
See if the Lancers consider going to the air. Gillum in the pistol decides to change things up.
You have a receiver in the slot that has a huge cushion, so if you want to, you can attack with Cervantes very quickly, and he's probably not going to pick up 10 or 15, but the cornerback was about 12 yards off of him, where if you just throw a quick slant just very quickly and he lowers his shoulder, it's probably a 7-yard gain on 1st down, which is almost the equivalent of a rush. If it's the same formation, I can see them going there because it's a guaranteed 5 to 6 yards.
Very interesting that they called timeout. They must have been running close to running out the clock and getting a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, it looked like there was some confusion in terms of the play call. Our outstanding staff and team of reporters has reached out to the CIF offices, and CIF has confirmed that Jake Constantine will miss next week's game. Deuce obviously confirmed it for us as well. Calabasas is, speaking of 2 unsportsmanlike conduct, there have been 2 unsportsmanlike penalties for the Calabasas bench at Lawndale. And now they're checking to see if anyone's been ejected there. Couldn't that be a story tonight? Calabasas does lead Lawndale 14-7. Oxnard still unable to score. Trailing Redondo Union, though, just 7-0. Connor Clark is in at the quarterback position for Camarillo, by the way. Constantine was ejected for arguing with different officials on separate occasions. Interesting story, to say the least, what that means for Camarillo potentially going into a semifinal. 2nd and 4. Trips to the far side after that 6-yard gain from Martin. Martin sprinting wide right, and that pass very easily could have been intercepted.
Flag down.
Penalty flag down.
He put a lot of air under that ball, but he also led his receiver towards the sideline that, unless it was an amazing play by the defense, they're not going to make that interception. But there is a flag down, and he's in the position of probably holding, so chances are it's going to back up Thousand Oaks Lancers even more.
Andrew Jones is deciding if he's going to take the penalty. It is a personal foul. Contact to the face. That's a 15-yard penalty.
Brutal. At this point, that is a huge penalty because it backs you all the way up to your own 44, and instead of being 2nd and short, you're looking at 2nd and very long.
2nd and 18. Boy, these are a big couple plays coming up for TO. It's probably 4-down territory again. And especially for that play to come after they were forced to take a timeout. Everything was working for this Thousand Oaks offense.
Well, the way Martin's ran it, give it to him once or twice. He's been averaging about 9 yards anyways.
Looked like they might have gotten away with a hold on the inside. Martin carries to the 39-yard line. 3rd down and 14. And once again, if you're able to pick up even 6-8 yards here, you set up a manageable 4th down.
I agree. I think that makes sense. Go for something safe or just run the football and see where your 4th down goes. 3rd and 13, you're right. You pick up 8 yards. 4th and 5 is extremely manageable.
Gillum with a play fake. Now he'll look to throw. Flushed out of the pocket. Gillum trying to get away from Toa. And that's not happening. A big sack from Toa, and Gillum's down in midfield. T.O. will be forced to punt.
What a player, Toa. We said he's been close to getting Gillum twice. Gillum was able to beat him a couple times. This time it was Toa getting the best of the Thousand Oaks quarterback. We said getting 4th and manageable. Instead, it was a 6-yard loss. It's now 4th and 24. Amazing play by Toa, and now the Lancers have to punt, and the Braves get the ball back up 4, and we're in the closing moments here. Before you know it, it might be the end of the 3rd quarter with only 4 minutes left. A huge defensive stop when the Lancers needed some points, and instead the Braves get them off the field.
Well, penalties have really hurt Thousand Oaks the last 2 possessions.
Ball takes a Lompoc bounce down at the 21-yard line. You know, this type of offense that Lompoc has, in some ways in today's game, it can be very high risk, high reward when taking on a high-flying team like TO. Because if you go behind, you're in some trouble. But if you're able to get and hold a lead, boy, how advantageous is it to be able to chew time off the clock? If they're able to drive the length of the field here, I think TO would get the ball back legitimately with only about 8 minutes left and down 2 scores.
Yeah, if that, not to mention you have a field goal kicker that you believe in. You get past the 30, you feel pretty good. Worst case, you get this up to a 7-point lead, and that puts a ton of pressure on Thousand Oaks to have to get a touchdown just to tie the game up. So, yeah, they're in good shape. There's no doubt about it right now. And you're right, if it's an 8 to 8.5 minute touchdown possession, Thousand Oaks is going to have to play a near perfect final closing 8 minutes to have a chance to even get back in the game.
Turnovers and penalties have been the undoing of the Lancers tonight. 2nd and 7, let's see what they can do against this run game. They were better in the opening few downs of this half, and now Tawa going nowhere, brings up a 3rd and 7. So far, so good.
Yeah, they've looked very good here in the third quarter against the run. 3 and out, and now 2 stops only for 3 yards. So there haven't been many yards for the Braves so far in this third quarter, but they've still maintained their 4-point lead. And this is where you want them. 3rd and 7, it's a quarterback that doesn't pass the ball a whole lot. This is the down and distance. If you're TO, you want them every time.
Yep, Tao's gone out, so they're going to throw here.
So they'll move from that power formation to a shotgun set. 3rd and 7. And it's delay a game.
Well, they switched a lot of personnel, and that kind of screws up your timing.
And they're just not used
They're not used to being in that throwing set.
Exactly. So it's just kind of one of those deals where they probably eat another 10, 15 seconds of the play clock trying to figure out what to do, and before you know it, they're counting down 5, 4, 3, and you're not even sure where you're going to get the snap off. But huge break for Thousand Oaks. It gets them in even 3rd and longer. And still no Tawa in the game.
3rd and 12. He's not necessarily a 3rd down back. I think we're seeing that blitz coming. Sims will throw it complete to Forster, and Forster will be about 2 yards short. Lompoc will have to punt. Well, in terms of yardage, Thousand Oaks has been dominant in this third quarter. But the 63-yard punt has been what made the greatest difference in this game.
And they're going to try to hope for one again. They're not too far away from where they were last time.
Exactly. With this wind, you have to really play to your advantages. Is it possible that Lompoc is lining up to go for it? It looks like they are. Huge 4th down and 3. And they will give it to Tawa. And Tawa, I believe, picks up the first down.
No,
this side
short.
says first down. TO side says short, and he's stopped. What a huge play from TO defensively.
That's close.
I think they needed to get to the 31, and they're at the 30.
First down for Thousand Oaks. Why not punt in that situation?
And with
You got the wind to your back?
Yeah, the wind to your back, you just had a 63-yard punt, and it's not like you've been picking off 10 yards every rush this quarter. You've been only getting 2 or 3 yards. It's an interesting call, and I have to say, in order to get to this position, sometimes you need to be a coach that has the moxie to go for plays like that. But in this situation, with wind to your back, 4th and 3, it wasn't 4th and inches. I feel like the punt would have been the better call, but you have to give a lot of credit to Thousand Oaks there for making the stop. They still stepped up and got it done, and now they get the ball back.
Gillum, with the wind absolutely howling, gives to Martin. Martin upended at the 29. He gets a yard. And Lompoc really keying in on the run game. It's going to force TO to go to the air.
It definitely will, and it's 2nd and 9. You could run it here potentially, but you like
No
your
doubt.
run-pass option for sure. There's 3 receivers on the far side. All of these guys are pretty good options.
Flag.
There's another penalty against Thousand Oaks. Not just because of where we stand in the game, but because of momentum and the flow of this contest. I think the Lancers unquestionably have to come away with points here.
I would agree. Yeah, even if it's a field goal somewhere when you get in the red zone, come up with something, make it a shorter game, make it a closer game. But nonetheless, they've had trouble these last couple quarters getting points, so they're going to have to really earn them. This defense for Lompoc has been pretty good tonight.
Looked like they got the
Offsides.
Braves to jump.
Yeah, there was contact at the line, so the 5 yards you just let them take away, they get back.
So 2nd and 9.
And we're back to 2nd and 9.
Interesting exercise right there.
Right now, kind of a subdued, quiet crowd on this side. The Lompoc crowd was energetic. They were definitely involved in things. And then when they got stopped on
Here's
4th
Martin,
down,
excuse me, Kent. Martin breaking through, and now the TO crowd comes to life. 29-yard touchdown run for Martin. He's been the star man tonight for the Lancers, and they're back in front by 2.
yeah, I was just saying, this side, the crowd became a bit deadened after getting stopped on 4th down. And then now Martin really puts the hammer down, 29-yard gain. He's probably closing in on close to 200 yards by the time this game's over.
He's already got 203.
There you go. He's now over 200 yards. So Martin's been tremendous, and that was a heck of a run. And I probably would say at least 160 of those started right between the tackles, and then sometimes he's burst towards the outside when he gets up into the secondary. But great job by this offensive line. The Thousand Oaks offensive line has done a really good job against this front by Lompoc.
Here's an important PAT coming, and it'll probably be 5 yards further back. So many mistakes from TO tonight.
Remember, missed extra point earlier?
And
They
two,
missed-
two big penalties have really cost them on a couple series.
Camarillo leads 28-0, by the way, and Isaiah Otis 28-yard touchdown run. So the Scorpions in control there, but they'll be without Jay Constantine next week.
He missed, what, 3 straight weeks? He
Last
got hurt.
season.
He's missed 3 games this season, right? He was out after week 8.
Jake Constantine?
No, I'm sorry. Isaiah.
Isaiah Otis, yes. Otis, I was surprised there. Deuce, he was injured in the Calabasas game, which we had, Derry. I think that was in week 7, it was. And then he missed 4 weeks. This PAT just sneaks in, despite the wind, and it's 22-7. 17, pardon me.
Well, that's going to be a big question for the Lompoc coach to 4th down, 4th and 3. Well, that's a big play in this game.
It will be, but you know what? It's a 3-point game. There's still 13 and a half minutes left. You get a touchdown here, you take the lead back, you can somewhat forget about that.
But you've given Thousand Oaks some confidence after stopping them.
Oh yeah, I still think it's the wrong call, and I do feel like if you had to do it over again, you probably punt. But nonetheless, you went for it, you got stopped, you're still in the game. Tell your team, you know what? We were down 7-0 or 6-0 earlier. We led 17-13. Let's go down, let's get another touchdown, and then it's up to the defense to make a stop. So it hurts, there's no doubt about that, but it's not like there's a minute 34 left in the game. There's plenty of time for them to get remotivated and hopefully forget about that. You can't worry about it too much.
Well, you go in the 4th quarter and the wind's going to be in front of you, which is going to make it really tough to get a field goal.
It will be, that's true. Especially with your kicker who was drilling 50-plus yard kicks.
Here's Forrester. Is hauled down at the 24-yard line. You know what, I will say this, when I walked back up to our broadcast position, despite the fact that Lompoc in the 3rd quarter knew they'd be going from left to right, going with the wind, their kicker was actually attempting kicks into the wind.
De La Cueva, yeah.
Yeah, that was a really interesting approach.
Makes sense.
Heads
They
up
were
for
line
coaching.
drive. They were line drive field goal attempts.
It has to be. In this type of wind, you can ill afford to put it that high. We've seen every kickoff and every punt that's gone in that direction this quarter. It just dies up in the air and falls.
So what the Braves do here will be a give to Green. Green up to the 30. Green straddles the line and ultimately goes out of bounds at the 36. That's good for a 1st down. That's Lompoc's first down in the 2nd half.
Yeah, it took them almost 11 minutes of game time, but
Penalty flag on the far side of the field, though. Excuse me, Ken.
yeah, so now we're going to find out if it is their first down of the quarter. It seemed like it was.
They're moving
The
the 6.
sideline warning against Thousand Oaks. Some of their position coaches have been 10 yards out on the field in between plays, and you just can't do that.
No, you have to respect the rules, respect the position you're allowed on the sideline. And then-
Rules. Let's don't respect rules.
Oh,
Do whatever we want to. Come on, Ken.
Tell you what, it should be a rule to punt on 4th and 3 from your own 30 with the wind. I'm not going to forget about that one. Here's Sims, who will keep it on his own. Has the option to pitch left to Forrester. Here goes Sims at the 45 and goes out of bounds there. Stumbles on the TO sideline. The Braves faithful with us on the near side wanted a penalty.
I mean, he got hit out of bounds. Now, was it accidental or was it on purpose? It's one of those deals where it's so far away from our vantage point. He definitely was drilled on the sideline, but it might have been a player running, lost his balance, and then just fell on him. But nonetheless, a great run by Sims, probably the best run he's had all night. He has not had a ton of first down runs like Tawa and Green have, so that was a good first down run, and it sets up, I guess, 2nd and inches.
I formation this time for Sims. And Sims will give to
flag.
Green, and a penalty flag is down, presumably against Lompoc. Yep, 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, I feel like this offense gets in trouble, gets penalties when they're not running their normal set. When they're dropping back and they're trying to go pass, or when they go I formation, not their typical option-based offense, they've had penalties. I feel like stick with your offense, see what works, and then when you have to pass or have to shift out, then you do that. But right now they don't look too comfortable in anything but their normal base set.
Well, they just also, to that point, they execute so well in their normal base set. And have had a lot of mistakes, as Kent mentioned, when they try and line up in a different formation, as is the case here. There is a motion man, and the football's fumbled. Ultimately, Sims falls on it.
You think they're just overthinking things right now? I'm not sure. I understand they kind of got stuffed on their first 2 possessions, but it's not like their first 4 or 5 possessions in the first half weren't effective. I'm not sure why they've gone so much. We saw pretty much no formations that weren't the option in the first half, outside of one obvious passing down. This time we've seen 3 or 4 already this half. I'm not sure what they're doing.
And Tao's not really part of that offense after being so effective in the first half.
Wow, huge gust of wind here. We got to get a shot of that goalpost at some point, too.
That thing might fall over.
Really. Here's Sims to keep it. What a run from Sims! Beyond midfield, beyond the secondary. Will he be hauled down? Touchdown! Lompoc, 68 yards from Sims. What a play on 3rd and 14.
Well, that time Sims busted one, and then he outran the defense. I wasn't sure exactly how much speed he had, but that time he stepped up. It looked like he was going to be caught around the 15 or 10. Instead, he found a way to get that ball over the goal line. A heck of a comeback after giving up that touchdown. They answer pretty well. And what is that? It's a short scoring drive, timing-wise. You don't see Lompoc with a lot of those.
De La Cueva hits that PAT. Bangs the scoreboard with the kick. Make sure you enjoy that wind, young man, because it will be your enemy for the 12 minutes that follow the 13 and a half seconds to close this quarter. What a play from Sims, really. A special play to bring his team back in front 24-20.
Yeah, 2 huge runs for Sims on that drive. 1 for 9 yards and then the touchdown for 62. He didn't touch those type of plays in the first half. So even though we were saying, are they overthinking things? What are they doing offensively? They're most likely going to have the lead going to the 4th quarter and sustain that 4-point edge. They had a 4-point edge at the half. They have a 4-point edge right now with 13 seconds left in the 3rd frame.
It has been a bit of a struggle this evening for Ventura County football teams, just as the opening playoff week was for so many. Pacifica trailing Palos Verdes 13-3. Redondo Union has punted to Oxnard. That's the good news. The bad news is it's still 7-0. Calabasas is leading 20-7 over Lawndale. Oaks Christian, even after a 99-yard touchdown play, as Pittman caught a pass from Corral, they're trailing Bishop Amat 28-13. That's halftime in the Calabasas game, by the way. It didn't start until 7:30. Nice to score that touchdown, isn't it? before the change in quarters. And TO will likely run one play in the third period.
Well, as of the wind wouldn't have had any factor on that. Maybe gave Sims a little bit more speed.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It affected the kick, though, is more what I was saying here.
What a run, though, for Sims. We haven't really got to see him in the open field all night, and that time, I wouldn't say he pulled away from the defense, but he separated enough early that he kind of held on there right at the end and got that ball across the line. I thought he was going to be caught. Great run, and so now you're seeing it. Tawa comes out, and it was more of Sims, and then you throw in Green as well.
Gillum fumbles the snap. It was a low snap on first down. 2nd and 14 it will be to start the fourth and final quarter of play. So many mistakes for this Thousand Oaks team, really. And the Braves, they believe once again they were really held back on the first, 10 plays of that quarter, and then they were finally able to break through on the 68-yard touchdown run from Sims. We go to the fourth quarter, guys. It's 24-20 Lompoc.
Yeah, and that was like a 3rd and 12.
3rd and 14.
3rd and 14.
What a play. What a play from Sims.
Yeah, and they needed that because they have been stopped multiple times that entire quarter. It looked like another punting situation, or should be a presumed punting situation. Right. And instead, after getting stopped on their previous possession on 4th and 3 in their own territory, they explode for a 3rd and 14 touchdown. And as I said, throughout all the goods and bads that happened for the Braves in that third quarter, they maintained their 4-point edge, which I think if you would have told them heading into the half, okay, you're up 4 going into the final quarter, I don't think they would have been disappointed in that.
Undoubtedly, no. For Thousand Oaks.
Boy, you would think at some point Kevin Howe's got to have an impact on this game. He really, he's got 2 passes, and that's been about it. We're talking about one of the top receivers in Ventura County ever. Has only been a target, I think, 2 or 3 times in this whole game.
Yeah, one's only thrown the football a couple times. He will pass. That is complete up to the 25-yard line. 26 make it. And it'll be a 3rd and manageable, 3rd and 4.
Yeah, that was a good gain. A nice play call. I like that. You come out of the quarter break, you get one of your receivers involved, and now you set up a 3rd and reasonable 10-yard gain there. And here's how, he's lined up on that short side of the field, so he'll have an opportunity here potentially to pick up the first if they go to him.
Instead, they go to Martin. Martin will get right near the first down marker, and it looks like the official on the far side
a little
just
short.
Gave him the spot.
Oh, yeah? He got it barely. Wow.
That's a first down.
And Martin's just grinding out plays, whether it's 10-yard rushes or those short little 2-yard gains on 3rd and short. He's been great all game. And maybe that's going to be their philosophy here. I understand they're not going to how much, but it's not like Martin hasn't produced. He has over 200 yards, so it's not a bad option to keep feeding big number 34, and he just picks up another first down.
Yeah, Martin gets beyond the 40-yard line. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's how I feel about this Thousand Oaks run game. The last thing you want is a turnover as well, and honestly, throwing the football in this wind, I think, would be really difficult.
Yeah, especially downfield. Short passes, it's fine. But yeah, if you're going to try to stretch this defense, it might not work out that well. But now you do have the wind to your back, which will help.
Oh, boy, that was close to being offsides of Thousand Oaks.
Here's a give to Martin, and Martin's got another first down. He's just single-handedly navigating this field. That goes out of bounds. Clock stops 10:48 to go, and the chains move.
I said to you in the first half, you got used to saying another Tawa first down. Now it's another Martin first down in this half. He's just been ripping off first down after first down.
Nearing 250 yards on the day. Why not? It's Martin.
Boy, he just really reads the blocks very well.
Just 2 yards on that play. 2nd and 8 coming.
But look at the clock, though. If they can get a touchdown drive here and kind of do what they did earlier in this half, which is that elongated 5 or 6 minute drive, then that does put a ton of pressure on Lompoc here on the road. But you mentioned it earlier, they need touchdowns. Because they missed that extra point earlier on their first touchdown, a field goal here doesn't do you any good. You need 6, you need a touchdown, because a field goal, you're still behind.
Martin carries again, 3rd and 6 now.
And you think they play this for 4 downs, right? If, let's say, they pick up 3 or 4 here,
No question.
they have to go for 4th and short.
Unless you want to try a 52-yard field goal. It wouldn't even equate in terms of the current situation. 3rd and 6. Let's see if T.O. runs it again. Gillum changes things up. Thousand Oaks has 2 timeouts left. They're going to want to hold on to those.
I wouldn't mind using Gillum here as a runner,
Gives to Martin.
but that's the better option.
Martin right at the first down again.
It's like he's got it.
And Kent says first down, so does Deuce, so do the refs. 1st and 10 for the Thousand Oaks Lancers on the 36-yard line. It's been all Martin this drive, with the exception of 1 pass from Gillum, and why not?
Yeah, and on that pass, there was a quick receiver open. It was a 2nd and 14. You picked up 10, so it was a wise pass to go to the open receiver.
30 carries for 242 yards for Martin.
What a performance.
Over 8 yards a carry. That's really impressive.
He'll get it again. He was hit from behind. A little bit of a concern of ball control there, but Martin aware, holds on to it well. At some point, you know this TO team will go to the play action.
Maybe. I mean, you would think so, but I guess as long as you're in 3rd and short and 4th and short situations, it's not like you have to do that. Here would be a time might be effective on 2nd and 8.
They're looking to go to Howell on the left side. Great double coverage from Lompoc. Gillum flush. Gillum throwing to a wide open wide receiver. And that's caught in the end zone. Touchdown. Thousand Oaks.
Good
34
call.
yards
Good
to
call,
Matt
Danny.
Stockstad.
Good call, Danny Page.
It was the perfect time for the play action. They wanted to go to Howell on the far side, Derry, but Stockstad all by his lonesome. After Gillum is able to improvise, it's 26-24.
Boy, did he have a lot of time to throw or what?
Yeah, great protection on his blind side to allow Gillum to get out of the pocket and then find the open receiver. That's what good protection does. It allows you and affords you the opportunity to read through your progressions and find the open wideout.
See about this PAT. I think that kick went all the way out to Newberry Park with this wind. And what a play. Gillum delivering a strike to Stockstad, who, to be fair, was on his own.
Yeah, and now if you're Lompoc, you have to start looking at this. How many more offensive possessions do we have? And we're also kicking into the wind. So it's an unfavorable conditions at this point. If they have one of those 6-minute possessions and they don't get a touchdown or a field goal, they're asking to maybe lose this game. So they almost have to treat this as if it's their final possession, especially if they get past midfield, knowing the fact that a field goal, we understand De La Cueva has a leg, but does he have it in this wind? It becomes now time is your enemy if you're Lompoc.
We are all set up for a very intriguing semifinal in this Northern Division between Bishop Diego and Camarillo, as Bishop Diego is leading 41-0 over Palmdale. Wouldn't that be a game?
Boy, I tell you what, Bishop Diego, their team like Lompoc, they run a lot, and if you're not used to seeing that type of offense, it gives you a problem.
Oxnard tried to stretch the field on 3rd down from midfield, and the ball was overthrown by about 6 inches. Otherwise, they would have tied the game. Frustrating for the Yellow Jackets. And Oxnard's season looks as if it will come to a close after a 4th down pass goes incomplete. 54 seconds left.
You know, except for one play, the Thousand Oaks defense has really played very well in the second half.
That's very true. They have
They've been
very
great,
good.
other than that one play. And now Sims will go from the shotgun. Where's that power formation?
Yeah, it's hard to believe that they kind of went away from what worked so well in that first half. And you did say, though, there was an animated Coach Lieben. He was saying you have to get after it. You have to start to figure things out on the defensive end. They've done that in the second half. So whatever he drew up on that whiteboard at the half, and as animated as he might have been in the locker room, it's paid off for this defense so far this half.
And there really hasn't been, Tao has just not as been
He's
hardly
standing.
been out in the field.
He's on the 25-yard line, Deuce. He's frustrated that he's not on the field as well. 2nd and 9. Clock running inside 8 minutes now. They will fake the jet sweep. Sims will keep it himself, trying to catch up to him, and just taking down a nice tackle on the play from the Lancer on the far side, who's slow to get up, on the near side. It's number 17, Luke Raftery, the senior. And Raftery just brought him down and was a little shaken up on the play.
And now Tawa's coming back in on a big 3rd and 4 here for the Braves. And you would think his number might be called. He's been effective all night. I have to think here, you trust him, you believe that he can be patient enough to see which block opens up, and you get it to your sophomore captain. Yes, that's right, sophomore captain.
Tawa is in on this 3rd down and 4. Sims will keep it on his own, trying to run to the right, and Sims stopped short.
Well, if you went for 4th and 3 earlier, I think you're probably going to go for 4th and 1.
A play that could determine the season for these two teams. Lompoc brings that extra blocker in, Isaac Black. You got to think you just line up in the power and give it to Toa Tawa.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, or even a sneak. Sims has been a very effective runner, as we've seen here in the 2nd half. Wouldn't it be the worst thing to just have him follow one of those lead blockers and pick up? You only need 3 feet.
4th down and 1, nearly halfway through the 4th quarter. They will motion green. They will keep it on the sneak, and that's good for a 1st down. Great call, Ken.
It makes sense. And that time he followed his blocker, and you get low. As a quarterback, you see some of the best ever. That's what they do. They get low on those plays, and you pretty much negate anyone coming from over top and trying to push you back. You follow your runner, you get behind his butt and his legs, and then you just dive for that yard. 8 out of 10 times at least, you should be comfortable enough to pick up those few feet.
So it's 1st and 10. Lompoc probably wants to end the game on this drive, I think.
Yeah, they have to treat this like it's their final possession.
Although Sims with a lot of space, a nice cut back at the 40.
Great
Sims
blocking.
still going. And a Thousand Oaks player had actually been blocked to the ground, Landon Alatorre. And as Sims ran by him, Alatorre grabbed his leg and hauled him down.
And the 2 big blocks at the line of scrimmage, you had Tawa, and downfield you had Green, the 2 halfbacks that have been all over the field making plays as running backs. They were the 2 main blockers on that big run, and now Lompoc, halfway through the 4th quarter, they're across midfield. They're in Thousand Oaks territory.
102 yards rushing for Sims this half.
Great 2nd half from the quarterback. Green will carry on 1st down. And at least Thousand Oaks is doing a nice job dealing with that power game. Now it's obviously opening up the run game for the quarterback for Lompoc. But at the same time, they've at least stifled Lompoc's initial plan.
Yeah, that's true, and at least now you, generally speaking, know who's going to keep the ball when it's not an option offense. They've kind of gone away from that. They're kind of sending a man in motion, faking the jet sweep, and one of these times they're going to hand it off on that jet sweep. They haven't quite done that yet, but now they're back into their traditional, more basic formation.
Although the quarterback is working from the pistol, he'll fake to Toa Tawa. Sims keeps it on his own. Sims is gone. His 2nd long touchdown of this 2nd half. What a play from Sims. 48 yards. He does it again. It's 30-27 Lompoc.
He's banged up a little bit, though.
Yeah, he seemed to slow it down a little bit on the way into the end zone. There was a hit from behind on the Thousand Oaks player, which I actually think that he hit Sims at about the 1-yard line, and that's a legal play. The fans here want a penalty flag thrown. Here's an important PAT coming. A lot of time left for TO, by the way. The PAT is through, and it's 31-27.
Yeah, what that touchdown does now is it forces Thousand Oaks, with the PAT made, to have to score a touchdown. They answered very well, and Sims on that possession on the 4th and inches picked up the first down, and another explosive run. He's over 150 yards now here in this second half alone. Sims has stepped up as the predominant ball carrier, and he did get drilled. He got hit there towards the end. Was it a late hit? Was it not a late hit? That remains to be seen. Hopefully for his sake, he's healthy enough that if he needs to come back in, he's going to be out there on the field. But a huge run once again, and it's Sims, the senior quarterback. We talked about Sims in the first half the same way we talked about Gillum as seniors that you can believe in and lead your team to victory. They've both had pretty good second halves.
And by the way, I think that penalty is actually really important in terms of what it does on this play in relation to field position. The kicker is obviously going to be forced to kick directly into the wind. If he's kicking from the 45, that really helps the opportunity to pin Thousand Oaks back a little bit deeper. As it stands, it's going to be a challenge for De La Cueva to kick into these gusts.
Maybe low line drives, though. If you can have a line drive, it limits what they do.
Not necessarily. The ball is going to bounce. There's potential that it could be recovered by Lompoc. A Thousand Oaks player does just barely dive on it on the 31-yard line, and that's where T.O. will start.
They kicked it to that soft spot in between the deep men and the up men, and then it ricocheted back. That nearly bounced right to a potential Brave. If not for a heck of an effort by a Lancer on the far sideline, that could have been Lompoc ball with 5 minutes left up 4. Very fortunate for Thousand Oaks that they come up with that. That was nearly their second big, huge special teams blunder today.
And it was the same spot where they kicked off from before, to that same area.
Here's Gillum. He gives to Martin. Martin gets about 6 yards. It's been even, I think, in terms of the way the teams have moved the football. It might not feel that way, but maybe even advantage Thousand Oaks because Lompoc's winning the turnover battle. They're making plays on special teams. They're committing fewer penalties. They're clearly winning the game away from just the offensive and defensive battles that we've seen ensue tonight.
Timeout here.
Yeah, and now if you're Thousand Oaks, you have to be thinking, what do we do here? We're down 4 points. We know that Martin has been the most effective player, but we also know that play action is a factor as well, as we saw with that last play. They have a bunch of offensive options, whether it's Howell on the outside, which just had that one big catch for a touchdown, and that's really all we've heard from him, or maybe it's more of Ledford or Stockstad. They have weapons, but I have to think as long as they're moving ahead of the chains and they're 2nd and 4, 3rd and 2, they're going to keep giving it to Martin as much as you have to because there's plenty of time left. You have 2 timeouts left. There's no reason not to give Martin the ball. If you're going to lose this game, you want to lose the game knowing you gave it to your best players. And whether it's Martin, Howell, or Gilliam, those 3 guys need to be making all the decisions. And I'd like, right now if I'm Coach Lieben, I keep giving it to Martin until they force you to stop it.
Couldn't agree more, Ken. 2nd and 4, Leiben's going to change things up a bit here. The timeout was taken by Lompoc, as you can imagine. Here's Martin. Martin short of the first down. They'll have a little bit of work to do on 3rd and 1.
And do you treat this, though, as 4 downs? Like, for instance, if you get a stop here and it's 4th and 1, do you risk going for it, or do you hope your defense can make the stop? I feel like you have to try to go for it.
I think so.
Chances are, though, they run it here and they pick up the first. Martin's been averaging about 8 yards a carry. Just odds are in his favor. He'll pick up 3-4 feet here.
Gilliam will go from the shotgun. It'll be a designed run on his own. He'll get the first down and dive forward to the 45. He lost the football.
They said he was down, though.
He lost the football when he was on the ground. Had already been tackled.
And that's a smart play. You have a 6'3" quarterback who is a smart decision maker. You trust him in that short yardage situation to know where the hole's going to form and then to just one cut and pick up the yardage.
Not to mention just running it to the short side of the field as well. It's a very simple play call. I think one thing that Thousand Oaks is looking at, not necessarily because it's their style, but because of the way the game's unfolding, they want this to be the last possession, I think. They want to score last and end it there. Although a nice play up front defensively by the Braves. Kane Coro there to make the tackle. It's the first time Martin's been stopped for no gain this half, I want to say.
Yeah, that was a big-time stop right about at the line of scrimmage. Coro just won that battle up front with the offensive guard and then just flipped Gillum to the ground. 3 minutes, 30 seconds left, 4-point lead for Lompoc, and that was a statement play on first down. winning first down has not been something Lompoc has done this half. That time they did.
Gillum now forced to throw, sprints right, looks to throw to a complete and wide open man. Stockstad again.
Well, if he doesn't lose his balance.
Well, they are overlooking Stockstad in the secondary. 39 yards on that one. 1st and 10 down to the 16. And unfortunately, a Braves player is down, Richard Foster.
Yeah, and great job by Gillum there once again. The line gave him enough support that he was able to go through his progressions, and then Stockstad just basically held that corner, was wide open, and you're right, Deuce, if he doesn't lose his balance, he probably goes in for a score there. But a heck of a play by the senior quarterback, Gillum, to notice him and then have the touch to find him down there on the sideline for a huge gain.
Somehow he's able to sneak by the secondary.
Yeah, twice this half he's already done it.
Well, it seems that those defensive backs are just a bit too keyed in on Gillum running the football. And now Foster is up. You anticipate T.O. will go back to the run here, potentially force Lompoc to use a timeout or two. We got a Westlake fan in front of us as well. I saw a Camarillo supporter sitting in the away stands. I love to see that Ventura County football fans are out and supporting the game, even if they're not taking in their favorite team. Here's Gillum, gives to Martin. Martin with a nice gain, about 5 yards. He's still going, carrying the pile inside the 10 down to the 8-yard line. And I think that is the perfect play for T.O.
Yeah,
it keeps the clock running, but they get a nice gain inside the 10.
Yeah, on first down, you pick up 7 yards. That's a heck of an effort. And now you're milking this clock. You're right. You're playing this as your final possession. With 2:49 left, now the Lompoc coaches, they have to start thinking, are we going to use our timeouts here? Huge gain, and that's exactly what you want on first down.
31-27. Martin cuts it back. Martin dives forward right near the first down marker.
I think only about a yard gain.
Okay. Oh, yep, you're absolutely right. Bit of a different perspective here atop the stands at Lompoc. I think one thing for Thousand Oaks, if they are able to score, it's a whole different ball game when you don't have to key in on Lompoc's power run, when you can just focus more on Sims running and throwing the football. But they need to score first. It's 3rd and 1.
And they need to score a touchdown, down 4.
To give to Martin. Martin spins off.
It's going to be close.
He stopped short. No, it's 4th down. 4th and a yard. The season comes down to this for Thousand Oaks against Lompoc in a CIF-Southern Section Northern Division quarterfinal. I wonder if Gillum will consider sneaking the ball. He'll start in the pistol, and Thousand Oaks is trying to get a timeout in. But no, they changed their minds, decide not to take the timeout.
They
better
get
do
this
something
play.
quickly. No signal from the back judge in terms of a 5-second warning that's been taken, and T.O. will take a timeout. Smart play, although it does limit your options if you do not pick up the first down. If you don't pick up a first down, then you don't have 2 timeouts, and you would not have the chance to get the ball back if you do not convert.
Yeah, ideally you'd like to save that timeout just in case you get stuffed here, but I think they're looking at it as it's do or die. We either get this and win, or we don't and we lose as it is. And the worst thing you can have happen there is either you force a play, you don't know what the play is going to be and you get stopped, or you commit a penalty, whether it's delay a game or some motion penalty, and then you're backed up to 4th and 6. With Gillum and with Martin here, Deuce, you have 2 really good options. I think Gillum's the smarter bet, being 6'3". If he gets right up under center, I think you pick up the yard. But Martin, you can't discount it if you give it to him either. Either way, you feel like you can believe in either player, and you feel good about your chances.
I'd say just sneak the ball. You have a senior quarterback. You have a yard to go. As you said, 6'3" frame. I think it'll be telling if Gillum lines up under center. It appears he will not. He'll go from a similar pistol formation. There's an extra blocker to his left. It comes down to this for Thousand Oaks in their season. It is a give to Martin. Martin gets the first down and more. Touchdown, Thousand Oaks, 7 yards out. And the Lancers take the lead, 33-31, 82 seconds left.
Just a back and forth 4th quarter, and when you need it the most, you go with your senior running back. out of the pistol. Great formation, nice call, as we said. You're not going to pick a wrong guy with either giving it to Martin or Gillum. They go to Martin. Great blocking up front, and I mentioned about a half hour ago, you have to credit this offensive line as maybe being the MVP of this ball game altogether. A superb job up front to open that hole.
Important PAT coming.
What a well-managed drive that was.
And that PAT is good. I will say this. We're going to go back to the missed PAT to open the game, guys. Right now, Lompoc would be forced to go for a touchdown instead of just potentially a game-tying field goal. We know their kicker has range. Obviously, the wind is very problematic, but they have a capable kicker, which isn't something you always see in the high school game.
Well, I tell you what Thousand Oaks really has to do is stop Sims.
Yeah,
He's been the guy.
And at this point, we've seen Lompoc actually have a few easy possessions or quick possessions. If you would have told us before the game they're down 3 with a minute 22 left, you're thinking triple option. I don't know if they can pull this out, but the fact that they've been quick hitters have been the ability. But you're right, if they stuff Sims, I'm not sure right now they've had enough offense the rest of the way to feel confident in anyone else here in the second half. It's really been kind of a one-man show with Torrey Sims running the show.
Yeah, Tao is he's just been the guy that's been kind of like a blocker and kind of been a guy that's been kind of a decoy.
His appearances
when
have
he's
been
on
marginal.
the field.
Appearances have been marginal in this second half for the most part.
I will say we might have to get this roster ready because there might be getting some names that we mention here shortly that we haven't mentioned all game. Because if you look down this roster, there's not many receivers' names that we've called outside of maybe 1 or 2 of them, Richard Foster and Michael Taylor. That's about it. The rest of the guys we haven't mentioned. So this final minute 22, it might be some unsung hero that we haven't even called his name until these final moments.
Well, and they're going against the wind, and you have a limited pass game anyway.
Remember, plays short of the first down inbounds are worth their weight in gold. So if you can limit what Sims can do on the ground, it will surely benefit the Lancers. The green hole's getting loud. Sims will keep it on his own, has some blockers in front. Sims gets up to the 28-yard line, and there's a fine example there as the clock is running.
The other thing, too, is if you're Thousand Oaks, if you're the Lancers coaches, you emphasize wrap up, tackle, hold on to the runner. You cannot allow missed tackles here because those quick 7-8 yard runs or quick screen could turn into a touchdown if you don't tackle well. You're right. The one thing, keep them in bounds and keep them in front of you.
And here's an opportunity to chase down Sims. Sims goes down at the 20-yard line. Clock running inside of 50 seconds. The Braves desperately need to take a timeout, and they do. 45.2 remaining.
And a big play by Wade Cookus making the stop. He just traced Sims all the way to the sideline and then came in with the sure tackle. You haven't heard his name mentioned all day. The senior stepped up big there with a huge play.
Of course, the starting quarterback before Max Gillum was Wade's older brother, Case Cookus, who was certainly something of a hero at Thousand Oaks. And I remember seeing Wade make some plays as a sophomore the last time we were here at TO, and it was a similar thought as to what we said about Kevin Howell. This kid is going to be a very good senior, and we certainly saw it there, making a big play. It's 3rd and 10 now.
And now it's 3rd and 10, and the one name we might be calling shortly on defense is Kevin Howell. He's been a playmaker at the cornerback spot all year. This could be one of those ones. If they throw one up for grabs, you almost feel like he has as much of a chance to come down with it as any receiver for the Braves. So watch out here, Kevin Howell. This is where he's going to be ball hawking, and I wouldn't be shocked.
And Max Gillum's out there too.
Gillum's out there at safety.
Big 3rd down. They would obviously go for it on 4th, but time is of the essence. 3 safeties, about 15 yards off the line of scrimmage. Sims will throw quickly, nearly intercepted, off the hands of Toatawa. And Lompoc will be forced to convert on 4th down and 10.
Now it becomes one of those things, what do you call here and how comfortable are you that the offense will manage the routes? We've seen them in these situations all night. They have not been comfortable in passing downs. Now you look at it, you're 4th and 10. I don't know. I wouldn't feel that great. Worst case is you tell your guys, run past the sticks, try to get open.
And even in this case, if Lompoc picks up a 1st down and you're able to keep them in bounds No timeouts left for this Lompoc team now. Backs are definitely against the wall.
Yeah, the clock stops momentarily because of the moving the chains, but after that it will reset. You might have to think about spiking the football, or you might just have to think about getting a quick play off after that. Advantage is definitely in the Lancers' hands at this moment, but nonetheless, we've seen big plays out of them, specifically Sims with his legs. The one thing you have to do is you have to spy on Sims. You have to keep a linebacker or somebody watching him, because if this play breaks down and he's one-on-one, he could beat a linebacker and go 40, 50 yards. We've seen him with a 60-plus yard touchdown and a 48-yard touchdown. It wouldn't shock us if he runs 20 yards here and picks up the first.
Wonder if it would potentially come down to a Max Gillum tackle even. 4th down and 10 in this CIF quarterfinal. Sims looking to throw downfield, and it looks like he completes it. No, the wide receiver stepped out, and the Lancers will survive.
It was a good decision by Sims. The receiver was there, and it was Foster not being able to get his feet in bounds. He's trying to plead his case, but nonetheless, incomplete. That's what they called, and now it's victory formation for the senior, and what will almost assuredly be his last home game of his career. A great win here for Thousand Oaks, and specifically when you look at the two seniors, you have Martin, the running back, and you have Gillum, the quarterback, and that offensive line was just an A-plus performance throughout this game. They were terrific.
I have to correct you on one thing, though, Kent. Thousand Oaks would be home against Camarillo potentially in the Northern Division Championship game. Now, they will go on the road, but if the Lancers were to advance to a final against rival Camarillo, it would be here, I was told by Joe Curley.
No, it's at Camarillo.
Oh, is it at Camarillo?
Yeah.
Joe Curley.
Camarillo's at home no matter who they play.
They got a long way to go. It wasn't easy for Thousand Oaks tonight, but as the clock runs down, the Lancers able to score last, upsetting in some ways the number 3 seed in the Northern Division. Final score, Thousand Oaks 34, Lompoc 31. The Lancers advance to the CIF-Southern Section Northern Division semifinals.
And just a great effort overall. When this offense needed to make a play or make that final possession for a touchdown, it was the big-time senior playmakers having it happen. And then also, how about Gillum? We know the way that they can run the football, but twice he was able to find a receiver, Stockstead, beating the defense open, one for a touchdown and one for a huge gain that led to the final touchdown. Great game by Gillum, a great game by Martin, and this defense did a much better job, Danny, in the second half. You mentioned it. You said Coach Lieben was on them at the half trying to figure out how to stop this option. They did mainly stop the option in the second half. They didn't really stop Sims all that much, but fortunately in the final possession, they were able to get the stop.
There were just 2 plays that they weren't able to contain, and that was it. For Thousand Oaks, it's their first CIF semifinal since 1989. They'll be on the road against either Antelope Valley or Arroyo Grande, the winner of that game, next week.
And now you see the crowd, the disappointed crowd here on the Lompoc side. They were right in front of us all game, and they sensed a win plenty of times in that second half. But the big thing is they wanted to get a 2-score lead. They never could.
You can tell as the students run onto the field, Mike Lieben was hunched over on his own, and you could feel that this was a really emotional moment and a very emotional game for Coach Lieben. This is the farthest his team's ever been in the playoffs, Deuce. And for someone that came so highly praised from Westlake and has done tremendous things with this program, he's never gotten this far. And you can look at him as he addresses his team. I mean, if I were to take a guess, basically been brought to tears by this moment. And for us to see Coach Lieben and Thousand Oaks do what they did tonight, you can tell this is a huge moment for this program.
Well, 26 years. I mean, that's a long time. There's been a lot of coaches between that 1989 team and here.
Wow. A very special moment, a special night for Thousand Oaks. They'll be on the road next week in the postseason. Guys, it was an absolute pleasure. We hope that we'll be back next week, although we never know when we get into semifinal week. A Bishop Diego Camarillo game would certainly be fun.
Yeah, it definitely would, and now Camarillo changes the tune a little bit. with the fact that you don't have Constantine there at quarterback, but they've been an excellent team all year. But what a win for the Lancers here tonight. They stepped it up when they needed to. It was back and forth. Frankly, if there were 5 minutes left in this game, for all we know, it might have been a Lompoc win, but Thousand Oaks gets it done at home.
Great last drive by Thousand Oaks. They really used the clock well. They made all the big plays, and they didn't pass very often, but when they did, they were very dangerous. They were very successful in the few pass attempts.
Max Gillum and the Lancers survive. They reach the semifinals for the first time at this school since the 1980s. 34-31 for my broadcast partners, the Deuce, Daria Eads, and Kent Brown, as well as Anthony Placencia, our producer, and everyone back at the mothership, including Ventura County Star sports editor John Catalini. My name is Danny Page. It's been fun. The students rush the field, and the Lancers reach the semifinals for the first time in more than 2 decades. Good night, everyone.